disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. Just, I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it no more.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
We just killed those fucking men.
What are you going to do about it?
You're happy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're happy because you got nothing. Lobito! Got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
Welcome everybody to the BDA Boxing Podcast, broadcast to you live from the True North. It's your good friends to BDA, and I sure am glad everybody could be on board for this one on this beautiful Sunday evening right here in the True North. Not quite frosty, it's not quite snow white, but snow's just about on the corner, I believe. Right around the corner. Gonna be a nice little December, I believe, at least weather-wise. But listen, we're not here to talk about weather, we're here to talk boxing, like they say in TV Azteca, boxing. So shout out to you guys for joining us, really appreciate it. Got a lot to get to, some very big events last night. We're gonna clear the air here because there's some controversy amongst boxing fans that we've really got to clear up here. That's what we do over here at BDA Boxing, we mend bridges. But before we do that, fellas, you know the drill. If you want to donate via the super chat, you're certainly welcome to do so. But of course, the most important thing is that you actually join the BDA membership program. That way you get more bang for your buck, all right? But even more important than that, you continue to support us by listening, hitting the like button, subscribing, spreading that BDA gospel, all right? It must be spread like peanut butter. You got to do it. Speaking of the supporters out there, don't forget you can check us out on Spotify, iTunes, and Spreaker at your leisure. I want to give a big old shout out to Alonzo Amazing, Virtuoso's in there, Michael Poe, Sergeant Z, USMC saying que onda, Fluffy Toaster 39, Stuart T. Dolls, Official Scorecard Boxing says, I don't care what anyone says, Chocolatito got robbed again, despite Estrada doing well this time. I'm done with boxing for real, it won't change. Well, there you go. I mean, listen, I'm seeing a lot of divide here in this boxing community here right now. Shout out to Alonso Amazing, like I said, Base Boxing Basement in the house. Shout out to Base Boxing Basement. Check out his channel. You just got to click on the three buttons, I believe, and it'll take you to it. Shout out to Spoderman, Rapax Trucking Company, who says, John Francis, the fighting cock Estrada, was lenient on his friend Choco ever since Rangvisa knocked out Choco. It was Gallo who schooled sore, not once, but twice. All right, Rapax, always appreciate your comments, but you're creeping me out with that by calling Juan Francisco Estrada John Francis. Make him sound like an Irishman or something. Francis. Shout out to LL, Kevin Fuentes, Rafael Garza in the house as well. Shout out to Rafael. The Quacks. Shout out to the Quacks, who says Mexicans need concessions. Pathetic. Oh, people are getting feisty in there. Shout out to the Canman, the Fight Scout, the Affirmation Michael Poe, who's already donated for the super chat. He says, here comes Santa Claus. Enjoy. Well, shout out to you, Michael. Thank you for your contribution. And he donated again afterwards, saying, apologize for the opening, and again, Merry Christmas to all. Well, shout out to you, Michael. I certainly appreciate we appreciate the donations. I feel a little uncomfortable taking too many donations for one person, Michael, but I prefer the loyalty that comes with listenership and viewership. But hey, it's your money. And like I say, appreciate it, man. Really appreciate it. Because gonna really fix that modem. That's the goal here, 2023, coming into 2023. We've had too many close calls which shows stuttering. Don't like it. I gotta tell you, you're not alone, fellas. I don't like it. Well, anyway, listen, enough prevarication here. Let's get right down to it. Like I said, I'm going to open up the phone lines in about 30, 45 minutes, depending on how it goes. But I'm really curious to hear your thoughts and your scorecards on Estrada Chocolatito 3. And I also, if you call in, I want you to break down how you scored the fight. Not just, well, he landed the cleaner shots. Okay. Really try to break it down. And also let us know if you rewatched the fight, because I just rewatched it. Finished rewatching it half an hour before coming on the air. So, man, I'm telling you, there's a big divide here in the boxing community. Some people say Estrada edged it. Some people say Gonzalez clearly won it. I mean, I'm curious here. So I've got the Gons and the Jim Marino here. Guys, are you there?
How's it going, Mr. BDA? How's it going, Jimmy?
Good to talk to you, fellas. I did have to drop out this week. Guys? Good to talk to you. I hope you're all in good health, because I certainly had that. Like I told you after the show last Sunday, I was feeling under the weather, and boom, 2 days later it fucking hit me. But listen, it takes a little bit more.
You doing better?
Of course, I just said yes. I just said it. Listen, it takes a lot more than the flu to keep this motherfucker down, if you know what I mean. But anyway, listen, this ain't ER. We're here to talk boxing. So I'm very curious to hear, since I haven't talked to you fellas in a while, especially since last night, the fight, curious to hear your thoughts on last night's fights. Fellas, who wants to begin?
Gonzalo, go.
Oh.
Hey, thanks, Jimmy. Well, in regards to Juan Francisco El Gallito Estrada versus Chocolatito Gonzalez, man, it was a pleasant fight. I mean, every time these two guys fight, it's like listening to music. You need a dance partner, and this is the guy for either dude. I mean, this is dance partner, and it's a pleasant sight to see. But at the same time, I was like, man, dude, I already see it coming. If Estrada wins, they're gonna say like Canelo, he got the best out of that guy, and he basically won the trilogy 2-1, and the other guys that saw Chocolatito win, they're gonna say, man, he got robbed 2 times when he actually should have deserved to at least win 2. And out of the 3, I think that this was the clearer fight to score. And there's still some controversy with that. A lot of people are saying, okay, this was a clear victory for Gallito Estrada. I would say it's still a close fight. But I mean, like I mentioned, I still think that Chocolatito won the first 2 fights clearly. And this third one could have been a draw. And if you have El Gallito Estrada winning, and there's no complaints here. It was a good fight, man. The guy started slow and he lost the last round. In the middle rounds, from like the 6th to the 11th, the dude got busy. Yeah, he was leaning into his punches. He was turning them shots over. He was catching El Gallito, and I liked how the punches were connecting. They were scoring blows, but the thing with this fight, that it was never going to be that type of fight where either guy was going to get hurt or stopped. So it's like, it's all right. It's an entertaining fight. Like I said, it was a pleasant fight to watch, but nothing that was going to set the world on fire. Like, somebody's going to get knocked out or anything.
Gonzalo sent me that message too after the fight. He said, he essentially just saying what he just said, which is, as far as trilogies go, and as far as the quality of the fighters, it's actually it's not that great. There weren't that great of fights. The second one was good. They threw a lot of shots, but there was never that drama where one guy gets hurt. And, it's like, I got the word you saw that Castillo, Corrales, well, that wasn't a trilogy, but like Barbera Morales, he was back and forth. You could tell both guys were hurting each other. This one, it seemed like they were shooting each other. Yeah, they were, landing clean shots, but there was never that drama that Gonzalo spoke about. Real quick, before we continue, shout out to Michael Poe again. Shout out to Michael Poe. Really appreciate it. He says, Robbery's only thoughts were a younger guy. I didn't see it, but I trust who said it was a robbery. And it's not to gain favor, it's because I've had to spend, and I enjoy your show. Well, shout out to you, Michael, although I am having a little trouble understanding what you say. I think in that second phrase you said, I didn't see that. Are you referring to the fight, that you didn't see the fight? Because this is, again, you really should, man, because just, I mean, I'm looking at the chat here. So somebody, Exponent said, Estrada whooped Gonzalez. I mean, listen, right now what we're seeing here in the chat is we're seeing the Gonzalez fans and the Estrada fans going at it, and they're just trying to prick each other with statements like that. So you got to see the fight. You can't go by what people are saying. You got to watch. I mean, and that goes for any fight, but even more so now because of the people are getting hot-headed. Jimmy, what do you think about the fight?
Well, kind of. All right. Well, first off, I gotta establish one thing. When it comes to Chocolatito, I'm always gonna have a little bit of rose-colored glasses. You know what I mean? I have so much admiration for him and his career, because obviously his mentor is one of my favorite fighters, one of the nicest guys you would have ever met in boxing. God rest his soul. But no, I was disappointed by the fight. And then when I find out, so I start. Something happened. Very few guys can go in there. I believe in my heart. This is again my speculation. You don't have the same kind of hate when you hate the motherfucker you're fighting. You don't like him, right? It's just a better fight because at the end of the day, right? It's a sport, but you're trying to knock each other the fuck out. And so was it age that made Chocolatito start as slow as he started? Was he trying to conserve his energy for the later rounds? Was that for the sluggish start? Put it this way, and no disrespect to Estrada, if that was prime Chocolatito, he would fucking wiped him out. He's fighting a guy who's he took that big stoppage from Rungvi Asai at a small weight, age 35. These are all fucking huge red flags. Those little guys don't fight past 30. Historically, go back. They just don't. Your legs go because of the amount of fucking shots you throw and the conditioning. Then you hear about his training, double fucking sparring sessions, 2-minute, 30-second rest, 4-minute rounds. I'm like, as you get older, man, you don't have to teach this guy all about conditioning now. You know what I mean? And learning how to pace when you're 35 years old. So did they overtrain him? As much as I can't stand Sergio Mora because I just can't stand it, but his punches were sluggish. They didn't have this snap. You go back, just put on 2 TVs, put a fucking Chocolatito fight from 10 years ago and watch the way his movement, his legs and bouncing, and obviously he's going to have to slow down. I'm not fucking expecting him to still fight like that, but it's a drastic difference in the snap of his punches. And you could tell there was times he wanted to do something and he couldn't. But on top of that, this whole hanging out together, vacationing together, you know what I mean? Like when you care about somebody, and you can see it after every headbutt, they're like tapping each other. You all right, buddy?
Yeah, I didn't like that, man.
You're not gonna have the savagery that you're gonna have if there's bad blood. You know what I'm saying? It makes for exciting. The minute I heard, literally, when they said that, I started looking shit up. I'm like, yeah, they did hang out together. But when they said that, it was like they took my legs out from under me because I'm like, very seldom. Okay, Mickey and Arturo beat the fuck each other until like hospitalization in that first fight. Yeah, they gained shit ton of respect for each other. But Mickey didn't start hanging out with the motherfucker until they were done fighting. Because, you know what I mean? It's like, you're just not going to want to go fucking break bread with somebody, get to know their kids. You just don't want to be like that. You know what I mean? And what happened by the second fight, they did. He hung out with him after the second fight and he even said it. Nah, man, it's not the same thing. When you really don't like someone, you want to fucking put a hurting on them. Sometimes that gives you a little extra motivation. I can see that fight going either way. Chocolatito gave away the first few rounds. Estrada might have edged out that 12th. Again, I wasn't really scoring it. I was disappointed, but the ferocity of the fight, I was let down by it, and I think that has a lot to do with it. It was just kind of paint by numbers, man. I don't think either one of them were trying to fucking knock each other out. They were just doing what they have to do, treat it as a sport, but there was no going after that. And again, he's 35 years old. I said he should have retired back. After he lost to Rungvi Asai, I was all about, like, just take your money, kid. Big you can live in Nicaragua for the kind of money he has. Just it's going to be trying to hold on to it, all that shit down there. But yeah, brother. So I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer. Again, nothing but respect for fucking Chocolatito. And Estrada's a great little fighter. I'll tell you, man, fighting backwards, he threw some nice combinations. That kid's no joke. He's a talented kid. And I know people are trying to throw jabs at each other from the camps. You know what I mean? Both are talented dudes. It's just like, I'm just echoing what my man said, Gonzalez. It just wasn't, it's not the type of fight I'm going to save in the DVR to watch it again, put it that way. Sorry for the long-winded bullshit. I just wanted to get that out.
No worries,
so I'll
man.
let you go, brother.
No worries, man. I want to give a shout out to LT. Haven't seen him in a while. Exponent, like I mentioned, Bernard in the Puro Sur in the house as well. Rafael Garza just renewed his membership program. Shout out to Rafael. Really appreciate it. His Estrada carried Choco son camotes. Okay, see, I'm telling you this. At this point, I find it funny how people are going back and forth. But shout out to everybody, man. Was that?
Was that LT who said that?
No, that was Rafael.
Okay.
Shout out to Rafael. But listen, people are having fun. I think people are having fun. I mean, it's fans going after fans, especially now in the World Cup mood. It's very nationalistic. I'll say this, man. They were tapping each other. By the fourth round, there was a point where they had actually touched gloves more than they'd actually landed clean shots. So yeah, I don't like the Caleb Plant approach either, where he goes, I don't want to be friends with anybody. But I want a little bit of, listen, we've seen friends batter each other, like you said, Jimmy, but most of the time those are exceptions, right? In general, if people, in general, like you said, there has to be a little bit of a mystery between both guys, especially a competitive edge, where both guys really want to win. And we just didn't see that. I mean, here's the other thing. Estrada and Gonzalez are very well evenly matched. And they could fight another 50 times. They could have fought 50 times between 2012 and 2021, which is the time that it took for them to fight the second time. Very, very close fights. Gonzalez, I think he clearly won the first fight. The second fight was close. I had Gonzalez winning. And now this one, it was much, much closer. So it's just, both guys are just way too evenly matched. I will say, overall, Gonzalez is the better fighter. Last night when I was watching the fight, I said, okay, Estrada, I think he more or less won not more or less. I think he did win the first 5 rounds. And then Gonzalez paced it beautifully, but not quite. And that last round, I believe I did give it to Estrada last night. I rewatched the fight, just finished watching it half an hour ago, and I had it 7-5 Gonzalez. I think the first 5 rounds were actually closer than most people give it to. So a lot of people are giving it. In fact, Chris Mannix, I think, had Estrada sweeping the first 5 rounds, which, look, here's the thing with this fight. It was competitive through and through. After I finished scoring certain rounds, I would write the level of closeness or competitiveness. All of them highly competitive. Some of them I wrote could have gone either way. So I can understand people having Estrada edging it, but for people saying, oh, Gonzalez clearly won it, or Estrada clearly won it either way, or saying that one guy schooled the other guy, I mean, I don't see it that way. I didn't see that. And again, I just rewatched it. So I would suggest people rewatch it and then tell me what they thought. But I do want to hear from people, like I said, in the chat. Give us your thoughts on how you scored it, and when you call in, you're going to have a better ability to do so as well, because in the chat, it's not the best. Real quick, shout out to Paper Tiger for his contribution with the super chat. He says, I would argue on that guys that don't have to get into their emotions to get the most out of themselves are better. Ultimately, Pacquiao, Bivol, etc. Yeah, that works, man. I mean, every once in a while you get a hothead that can actually be hot-headed and actually stay composed, like Jermell Charlo.
But yeah, it's not about emotions, though. You know what I mean? It's not like, you don't want to be an emotional guy, get in there and fight angry. But if you don't like the dude, Marvin Hagler was that way. Why the fuck do I want to be your friend? I might have to punch you in the face one day. Mm-hmm. He didn't hang out with boxers. Because it's just after he retired, he became jovial, but he fucking didn't talk to anybody. He wasn't friends with boxers because, I mean, again, it's a violent sport. It's a mindset you have to be in. And I'm not saying going there and being all angry, like fucking, blowing fire out your ass. But if you care about the dude, like he's your friend, it's just different. Put it this way: if you boxed your friend, and you ask yourself, would you hit the dude? I understand it's for the money, you're trying to stop him and stuff, but it's just a little different. You're still not going to try to fucking work those shots the same way. And again, he must have tried to save himself because he just didn't. I mean, his corner. Right? Am I wrong? What I think it was the 4th round. His fucking trainer was like, "What the fuck are you doing out there, dude?" Remember how hard he came down on him? Yeah.
I mean, Chocolatito, he's 3 years older. And okay, these guys pound for pound, they do crack hard, but they're smaller. They're smaller, man. How do you say? Jeez, sorry. They're smaller guys. Fucking, when you see these guys, we have high expectations of flyweights like bringing it. We want to see a fucking war. Throw a lot of punches, hurt each other. Chiquita Gonzalez versus Michael Carvajal 1. Especially if they're making money. I know times have changed. That's what we want to experience, I think. Yeah. Because usually when you see bigger guys, they might not be skilled and as talented as these two, but we want to see fucking punches land and people get hurt.
That's right.
With these guys, especially on the third fight, where they're kind of carrying each other, and you can see because Chocolatito's smaller guys coming forward. And the bigger dude is fucking he's fucking stepping back. He's assuming the role of a counter puncher when he can pick off the smaller guy that hits harder and the exchanges. So it's back and forth. Yeah, I get it. Let me say one last thing. I think Estrada mentioned in the end that he doesn't consider himself a better fighter than Chocolatito. Going back to the whole friendship, you can see by the way he speaks. No, I think el Chocolatito Gonzalez, he's a great fighter. He's even better than me, but I was just like better conditioned this time around. So there you go, man. People want to shit on one guy to bring up the other guy. Yeah, no, this ain't fucking Canelo GGG3. Where the two fights went in a certain way that the third, the guy fucking, he's the better of the two and the fucking trilogy. Nah. Watch the two first fights and watch this one, but don't get fucking carried away. I'm just saying that to be
very well said. Very well said from Gonzalo there. Well, I was going to say as well that a lot of people are talking about the decision, and just to muddy the waters even more. Check this out. This is a CompuBox here. We've got, according to the ESPN, well, I don't know, this is from ESPN, but I don't know who was keeping a CompuBox. It was CompuBox. They had Estrada throwing 778 shots, Gonzalez 732, Estrada landing 217, Gonzalez landing 201. Now, keep in mind, this is spaced out throughout 12 rounds, so it doesn't necessarily mean that Estrada was landing more each round, but it does show you how Estrada was being very active. Now, this takes us to the scoring criteria. As far as I know, maybe somebody could correct me if I'm wrong, the scoring criteria says clean, effective punchings. There's nothing about activity. So
exactly,
this is just another one of those fights where people are going to get down to the nitty-gritty and start really analyzing the scoring criteria and what their definition of it is, because it can be perceived as vague, I suppose. Although, again, it depends on which scoring criteria you're getting it from, because if you just get it from some random website, it's somebody's opinion. So this whole thing is just opening up a different kind of worms here. Jimmy, were you going to say something?
Well, it's hard to score Chocolatito fights because of his style of fighting. Because he's going to let you hit him on the forearms. He stays just enough distance where and he whacks him where and he catches him. So now, if he's coming in, right, and Estrada throws just whatever, a right hand, and say it catches him in the wrist and the forearm, but he turns at the same time. So as he's catching him, he does that little spin. If the judge is to the right, off to behind him to the right, it might look like he caught him. But I'm just trying to say it's not easy to score a Chocolatito fight because of the way he style fights. He comes in and he bats and he catches a lot on his gloves. You know what I mean?
Well,
so
I think you should.
What's that?
I think you should. I think you should say that his fights with Estrada might be difficult to score because usually Chocolatito actually lands a lot of combos on guys, and it's pretty clear that he like which fights have you had a difficulty scoring from Chocolatito?
No, I'm saying his type of fight for referees. If it's going to be a tight fight, because normally he destroys people. I mean, coming up, right? He would just wail them out. They couldn't keep up with his. I'm saying if you're in a fight with guys fighting in that style, like scoring last night's fight, when any fighter who's willing to take a lot of shots off his gloves, but to your point, they're not clean, effective punches. I didn't see Estrada. I think Chocolatito landed the better and the cleaner of the shots to the jaw. A couple of times he snuck, he does that dip forward and he comes over the top with the right hand. It's beautiful how he does it. And he caught Estrada a couple of times with that. And it's such a beautiful punch. And he relied completely on his skills. I'll be honest with you. I just think his legs are gone. And he's on my shrine list. So obviously I'm not being disrespectful to fucking Chocolatito. I just don't think his legs are there anymore. And he's still kind of on top. I just hope he doesn't hang around too long, but I don't want to get down that path. But anyways, that's just my thing.
No, I got you. Sergeant Z USMC says the same argument works the other way, Jimmy. Lots of Choco's rights weren't landing on clean on Estrada's face, but Estrada's leans would lead you to think that they did. I mean, that's another good point there too. Estrada, we talk about Gonzalez's great defense. Estrada was doing a very good job of making him miss as well, man. I mean, I understand.
Absolutely. I said I could see people scoring at Estrada. I won't argue with somebody if they scored that fight with Estrada. I'm not going to argue if they scored it for Chocolatito.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
To get a better appreciation, just think of this of Chocolatito Gonzalez, like what type of fighter he is now. He's still great. He's got a lot of experience. His boxing, his style, his demeanor, the way he carries himself is not gonna ever go away. He's just that good. But when Estrada fought Argy Cortez pressured him, and he had a hard time dealing with the more youthful guy, with the strong dude. Same thing with Cuadras, a bigger dude. Strong as well. Chocolatito had a hard time deciphering the stronger younger man dudes styles, like those two that I just mentioned. Chocolatito's a better fighter than those two guys, and he's not weak by any means in his weight class, but he is a smaller guy coming up, and at 35 years, when this guy's barreling forward, Estrada can handle him. He can deal with him coming forward to where he can kind of like pick him off, not all the time, win some of the exchanges, land to the body, drop the left hook, the right uppercut, and land clean scoring blows on Chocolatito. And Chocolatito, once he got settled down, like really, because he was a force of nature back then, like right around the 6, 7, or 8, he started landing. He started leading and turning his shots into Estrada's face. But it was a little too late, and Estrada being the younger dude by 3 years, man, he won the 12th round close, but clear. So it was a good fight. If you have Chocolatito winning, I have no problem. But what I'm saying is this is a Chocolatito that's 35 years of age.
That's a good point. And you bring up something, too, that I wanted to talk about, which is the Estrada, because I was having a difficult time seeing how this fight was going to go, considering that Estrada had looked bad against Adhi. And I remember saying after the Adhi fight, I said, look, this could just be Estrada having a bad night, because you can't say, he was exposed, because he's beaten better guys than Adhi. So either Adhi was really that better or Estrada had a bad night. And I think now we can see that Estrada just had a bad night there. I mean, he hadn't fought since March 2021? He's lucky he got that fight, because I think that fight actually shook the rust off of him. In fact, it might have actually hurt Chocolatito that they postponed the fight so many times, because he hadn't fought since March of this year, I believe.
PDA, what I was trying to mention, I get it that, Estrada's a better fight. He was rusty. But what I'm saying is that Arki and maybe Cuadras, by the fact that he's just a bigger dude, I guess, he's going to have a hard time dealing with younger guys in that aspect, that the younger, stronger dudes, although they're not maybe as skillful as Chocolatito and Gallito himself, they still bring something to the table that maybe Chocolatito's missing now. That fucking the youthfulness, that I'm going to press you like at 100 miles per hour. I'm gonna have to make you work where you're uncomfortable in spots to work off. And now, I mean, Chocolatito's still great. I mean, he still applies pressure, but it's not like the dude that's fucking walking you 100 miles per hour, so to speak.
I got you. Yeah, that's true. I was surprised that he was pacing himself, because like the commentators were saying, and by the way, the commentators, I don't want to be too negative, but my goodness gracious, when I rewatched the fight, I actually, I muted it because I just can't stand it. But they did point something right, which was that Chocolatito is always a slow starter, but this time it was way too much. Which, I mean, that's what happens with all fighters. It's a story that's as old as all the fighters themselves. It takes them a while to get those old rusty bones, warmed up. And sometimes they'll see the opening early on, but they just can't pull the trigger. It takes them a while to get heated up, like a car. You gotta heat it up before you start it. So think that's
It
what
was
he
almost
said.
2 years, right? I mean, a year and 8 months between the fight. I mean, when you want to run a fight back, dude, you run it back. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think Estrada he was pushing it off with the long COVID and some other shit. But yeah, I don't know. But
I mean,
you just 54 fights, I think, the dude. How many has he have total? 55 professional fights. That's awesome. I mean, just you go back to like Rocky Fuentes, and you know what I mean. When he was 24, 25 years old, man, and even young, right around then, he was just non-stop. He was a buzzsaw.
So
but again,
curious.
like to your point, Gonzalo, I'll be done with right here. To Gonzalo's point, he can crack, but he's a smaller guy who's come up into division. You know what I mean? But he's always been the smaller guy over the last 10 years, and that's a harder proposition when you're getting into your mid-30s.
So I'm curious, do you guys want to see the fourth fight?
No.
All right. Gonzalo?
No, that's it, man. I mean, like I said, it's always gonna be a pleasant fight to watch, where it's gonna be entertaining. I'm not gonna turn the TV off if they're fucking fighting. But what I'm saying is, like, there's no sense of imminent danger, where one dude's gonna knock the other dude out. So basically, it's gonna be nip and tuck, and maybe this day Chocolatito wins. Maybe the next day El Gallito wins. But like I'm saying, Chocolatito's 3 years older, so I mean, make of that what you will.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, I would like to see it just for maybe get a definitive answer, but I don't think we're gonna get that. In fact, I think it actually would benefit Estrada a little bit more because I mean, the longer it's like the Canelo Triple G trilogy. It's just one guy's getting older, the other guy is younger, and the other guy's getting older as well, but the other guy is being significantly more reduced in terms of physical talent because he's just that older. Here's the other thing, though. There's better fights out there, or not necessarily better fight, but more significant fights, I would say, in terms of excitement, because like we've illustrated today, these guys, they make for fun fights, but nothing that, like Gonzalez said, lights the world on fire. It is the junior bantamweight division. There's a lot of fighters. I'm not even going to go into the list because, I mean, we've gone through it before, but a lot of people, by the way, I didn't see the Jesse Rodriguez interview they had with the Zone. I mean, I did catch the beginning of it, then I had to go get a cup of coffee or something. But Bam Rodriguez, I don't want to be mean. He looked weird. I don't know if it was the lighting or something, but he looked like a lesbian. But did he say if he's staying at 112 or is he? I mean, is he moving to 112 or is he staying at 115?
Yeah, I think he went down to 112.
Yes,
but he's coming back up.
I believe that's what I heard too, Gonzalo. I heard because of his brother. He wanted to let his brother compete there at 115. So we'll see.
Then forget
yeah.
Yeah, okay, then forget
He just
him
does wear those kind of nerdy glasses. He does kind of dress. Well, they call him a professor. Isn't that his nickname or something?
Ah, come on. There was only one professor. There was only one professor.
Yeah, no, for real. Like he's a real smart kid, man.
I know, but there was one professor, and it was what's his name? Ghanaian guy. Why is the name escaping me, motherfucker?
That's his brother. That's Suma Nelson, yeah, but his brother, the guy that fought the Maloney guy, he's they call him the professor too. Well, he calls himself the professor. I don't know if anybody else does. He calls himself that.
And no, honestly, what I think it is, some boxers, because I mean they punch people in the face for a living, and they just don't want to people who say who aren't even boxers, but like you meet them in real life, they might not. It kind of gives off a thing like to some people, like, oh my god, he's a fighter. So I've seen that. I've seen guys not feminine, not dressed in feminine, but like they dress kind of like how you wouldn't think a fighter. And I think sometimes Bam wants that look, like you would look at him in the street. You know what I mean? I think he purposely likes that.
I mean, that's weird, man. That would make him a weirdo in my eyes if he actually likes throwing people off. But yeah, because the reason why I brought up Bam Rodriguez is because a lot of people were saying, well, he washes Gonzalez and Estrada, or at least the versions that we saw last night. But he's moving back down to 112, so I guess that's a moot point. But like, nevertheless, there's still a plethora of fighters out there, very tough fighters. By the way, here's just Bam Rodriguez, how he looked last night. Just for people to realize that we're not making stuff up here. I mean, come on. I'm not being mean, but I think it was the lighting. I'm going to attribute it to the lighting and maybe the angle of the camera.
He does look like a lesbian.
Come on, Jimmy. Come on, man.
Well, you said it, man.
I know, but anyway, listen. The point is this.
Hey, he should be a guest on the Ellen DeGeneres show.
Come on, Gonzalo, man. I'm actually sorry I brought it up. I'm trying to be more
I'm sure
positive.
Ben would take that, though. I'm sure he'd go to 115 for the right money.
Pretty sure he would, yeah. Gitano, a gypsy, Spanish gypsy. And my goodness gracious, he did not look good. He couldn't cut the ring off properly against the guy. I thought he won. I saw, again, a lot of controversy, a lot of divide between people last night, including for this fight. Some people had the gypsy winning. I didn't have him winning. I thought he was moving way too much, not punching enough, nor landing enough, obviously. What, did you guys see that fight? Did you guys catch it?
No.
No? Okay. But
How
yeah,
about what, Tyson Fury?
No, Martinez versus the Gitano, the Spanish gypsy. Julio Cesar Martinez.
The Spanish. Oh yeah, I watched it. I was kind of falling asleep though. I rewatched the extended highlights. Man, them Spaniards, they got skills, man. They got skills, but they move a little bit too much. Mm-hmm. They move around a little bit too much. It's kind of boring. And I think he bested as far as like boxing ability. El Martinez, the guy that's under, I think he's with Eddie Reynoso, El Rey Martinez. Yeah. I forget who he trained with. But anyhow, but the dude caught him, Martinez, El Rey, he caught him with some hard punches that made the dude scurry back a little, like he ran a little bit too much. So if you're going to qualify like by the virtue of like who outboxed who, I'd say the Spaniard did a better job, but as far as like punching wise, who actually hurt the other guy more, I'm going to say El Rey Martinez. So if you have it a draw, if you have Rey Martinez fucking winning, hey, that's cool. If the Spaniard, I mean, he didn't get the decision, but you thought he won, hey, that's cool too. Kind of a boring fucking fight, actually.
Yeah, it was. It was boring. And, Martinez, here's the thing, though. He's a very dangerous fighter because of his punching power, and he's got a lot of balls, too. Like, he wants to trade with guys. He throws caution to the wind to go for that knockout. And I like his feint. He was feinting last night. Here's the problem. When you're going to have that Fernando Montiel, Renato Lopez type style where you just lead with hooks, you better be able to get a proper sense of distance and proper positioning to catch a guy and to trap a guy. Because the problem here lied in the rhythm. The other dude was moving a lot, and he knew that Martinez would just explode 1, 2, 3, and either be too close or be off balance. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So Carmona timed it, and that allowed him to survive. But I didn't see Carmona winning. I didn't see him landing enough shots. He had a little bit. He had some balls every once in a while where he would trade overhand rights with the dude. But it wasn't. I wasn't impressed with that. You actually need to land. It's good if you can make a guy miss. Fantastic. Are you landing? No. Okay, you lost the fight. Now that being said, Sonny Edwards, who beat Alvarado a couple of weeks ago, he called out Martinez. He's got a hard on for Martinez, and Martinez loses that fight. Because Sonny Edwards is a much better defensive fighter than Carmona. Well, maybe when I say much better defensive fighter, it's just because he's way faster, has better reflexes. He's more unorthodox. Carmona's more well-schooled, but I think he would have Martinez flailing at the wind, unless Martinez makes some adjustments. By the way, fucking Reynoso, he's wearing those sweatpants, so he bends in between the ropes to get to the ring. His pants fall off. You saw his ass crack 2 or 3 times. I actually, every time that the break would start, I would have to look away or do something else because I didn't want to stare at that ass crack anymore. It was disgusting. Guys need to, you can't sense that your ass crack is out, or maybe because he's fat. I don't know if anybody's out there is fat. Does your fat get desensitized and you can't tell if your flesh is showing? I mean, I thought it was disgusting.
Some people they're desensitized. They kind of enjoy it. It's like cheap thrills for them. I saw one of those guys in a fucking rehab center. Yeah, they kind of enjoy it. They're like, whatever, man.
Oh man.
Yeah, there's no way they don't know that. That freaks me out too. Man, I would have tried to throw a coin or something from a few feet away so we could drop it in there. Like that, man, they know that. Man, how do they not know that, right? How do they not feel it? I think it's like they don't want to sit there fighting at their fucking ass all day, trying to pull their pants up.
Maybe that's it. It's laziness, right? I mean, they're fat for a reason, because they're fucking lazy. I mean, I don't know what the fuck, man. It was disgusting. Maybe Gonzalez right. Maybe he gets off on it. I remember that episode of The Simpsons where Homer's ass crack is showing, and the guy just drops a pencil into it. That was what the fuck, man. I think somebody should do that to these people to shame them. Pull your fucking pants up. Nobody wants to see an ass crack, especially if it's hot and they got fucking ass steam coming out of there. That's got to be disgusting, man. But anyway, enough of that. We'll talk more about the Estrada fight if we forgot some things, or maybe the Martinez fight as well. By the way, I actually prefer to see Martinez in there with a guy like Bam Rodriguez. That would be more exciting. Sonny Edwards. I mean, who else is at 112? By the way, Sonny Edwards, Martinez, Ukrainian guy that's undefeated that I've never seen before though. McWilliams Arroyo, who's
Arthur Delakian. Yeah, the Ukrainian dude.
But is that guy any good? I've never seen him fight.
I can't remember, to be honest with you. I know the name because Arthur Delakian is his name. He was like inactive for a long time. I don't know what happened to him.
He kind of looks like Lex Friedman. He kind of looks a little bit like Lex Friedman, the podcaster that he talks like this, and I have to know. You know that podcast.
I was listening last night to his podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, the podcast he did with Kanye West. He goes, I have to. The podcast he did with Kanye West. He goes, no, I actually have to push back on this. My parents were in the Holocaust. Or his grandpa, fucking guy. I don't know how. He's meandering, man, with his voice. All right, listen, hey fellas, before we open up the phone lines, let's get the fucking Tyson Fury fight out of the way. Did anyone catch it?
Yeah, I watched it.
Go ahead, fellas.
Well, I mean, Tyson Fury, how can I go about this? Okay, he wasn't the best condition, Tyson Fury. People know, obviously, this was like a tune-up fight. This is the third time they fought. He beat him twice. Now he fought an older version of Chisora. And the thing with Chisora, he usually, he's old. He's not the best, but he'll bring it to where if you're not as big as him, he'll push you back. At certain points, he'll make it uncomfortable for you. Like he pushed back Usyk. Now this is what I understand about Chisora and Fury. Fury's a big dude. He's not getting pushed around. Even a bad version of Fury. He's not getting. It's not the most exciting type of Fury either. He's not knocking this dude out. He's not. Actually looking like he's bouncing off the tip of his toes. But one thing that I can say that even a big dude like Chisora, he's not pushing a big guy back like Fury, and because Fury is not really the most powerful fucking guy either. But just by the size alone, that tells me that hey, if you're 6'9", 270 pounds, that means a lot. Even when it's not your best performance, and you're just going in there, and this is kind of like a glorified sparring session. Dude, the weight means a lot. What I'm saying when it comes to like thinking forward in the future, and in regards to him and Usyk, a better conditioned Fury with that size is gonna be dangerous because he does things that are like interesting. He throws these quick, snappy shots. And even though he's not the most powerful guy, he's hurting dudes like, what is this guy, like Chisora. Yeah, but it was basically a glorified sparring session.
Yeah, that's the same way I saw it. Jimmy, what did you think? Did you watch it, first of all?
No, fuck no.
Yeah, man, listen.
Just to be honest.
I'll give you
especially after he said that tweet. Oh, you remember his statement? I'll sit real quick when he said everybody can suck a fat dick last week when somebody asked him that, fans really aren't too hyped on this fight, and he made that statement. The shitty pull with Anthony Joshua, take it by this date, and Joshua was like, okay, I'll do it, and then he just backed off, and I had no desire at all. He said, don't see it if you don't want to watch it, and I said, okay. Anyways.
Yeah. No, I mean, I got you, man. Listen, I watched the first 4 rounds, and I was counting the clinches, and I counted about 15 clinches, I believe, and I said, no more. I did continue. I started doing something else at the same time, so I would occasionally glance at it. If I wasn't watching it, I would still hear Fury landing 2 or 3 combinations here and there. And but I was just not interested in seeing Chisora getting battered for 11 rounds. Number one, Fury is a top fighter. I mean, Chisora does. I mean, even against Joseph Parker and Pulev, I think he loses those fights. And I mean, in the Pulev rematch, I think he lost it. I don't know why they gave it to him, but at least he'll land a couple of right hands here and there and just make it entertaining for the fans there, especially if they're drunk. Gives him a couple of overhand rights to cheer about. He had none of that against Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is just too big and too good. The size does play an advantage. So we already expected him to batter Derek Chisora and do it convincingly. But it just does to show you the gulf of talent between a lot of these guys. Like Pulev not that long ago was a top 10 guy in the heavyweight division. He couldn't do to Chisora what Fury did. And again, that size advantage plays a factor in that. But Fury is going to be a problem for anybody in this division to convincingly beat. That being said, there are some new fighters coming out, new threats. Usyk, of course, has been a threat for the past year and a half. Joyce as well. Joshua's still there. You never know what he could do against Fury. But this fight was a waste of time. And here's the other thing. Real quick. Chisora's corner really should have pulled him out way beforehand. Because this is the type of beating. The type of beating he took is a type of beating that kills people. It's not that, and contrary to popular belief, and we've said it before, and boxing fans know this, but the casuals don't know this. It's not the big knockout that's gonna kill a guy. Most of the time, it's a slow hammering where no one single shot stuns you or wobbles you, but they don't put you off, but they just keep shaking your brain, rattling your head, ripping the brain apart, and that's where a hematoma comes in, and boom, comatose guy ends up dying. Yeah, so the Chisora's corner. By the way, apparently they sent Kriegel in there in between rounds, and they ignored him, which just goes to show you that Chisora's trainers act the way the ESPN always does, which is just ignore Kriegel. But the fact that they didn't want to even consider stopping this fight, guys, I thought that was completely irresponsible, man. Because this wasn't like Margarito Pacquiao. Because this wasn't like Pacquiao or Margarito, where look, Margarito, if he wants to go out, he's still okay, fine. But Chisora had taken plenty of beatings beforehand. He's been knocked out cold. He has taken those long beatings, especially in the Fury rematch. So this was a different situation. They should have pulled him out, man.
Yeah, I think you know what, it makes a lot of sense, and people just need to understand something. It's kind of weird, actually. It's the fights I think that that you might think that you can win because let's face it, Fury's not actually like a one punch type of knock you out type of fighter, and also this was not like the best version of Fury. This was out of shape. Kind of like, okay, let's just go in there and make this a glorified sparring session. But if Chisora somehow thinks that this guy, Fury's not knocking me out, I'm kind of hanging in there with him, I can go the rounds, and I actually think that maybe he's giving me some hope that I can win. Because actually he's not hurting me. That makes myself actually want to try harder. So that makes my brain actually go fucking like where I'm forcing myself just a little bit extra harder, but at the same time, it's like I can almost taste the fact that I can compete with you and kind of beat you, but the other dude's carrying me. He's just beating me up that much more. So it's always out of my reach, even though I'm trying that extra much, that much more. That makes your fucking brain try a lot harder, and it melts you away. It actually it makes your. How can I explain this? It wears you away, man. It's fucking, yeah. It all ends up hurting you in the long run.
I get what you're saying, man. I get what you're saying. I still think they should have stopped the fight. Because, this wasn't a Derek Chisora that was a fresh guy, 25-year-old, 27-year-old. That he's been stopped before, so there's no loss if he gets stopped. He's been stopped before. That's already on his record. It's not like Wayne McCullough crying after he got stopped against Larius in the rematch. Because he's never been stopped before. This was different, man. But anyway, listen, at the end of the day, he seems to be okay, so who the fuck cares? Shout out to Rafael Garza, by the way, for his contribution with the super chat. He says, after the Balenciaga fiasco... Real quick, Gonzalo. Yeah. After the Balenciaga fiasco, Charlo shows up wearing Balenciaga headwear to challenge Bivol. Shows you the type of punk Charlo is. Oh, I didn't know he was wearing Balenciaga. Huh. Shout out to Rafael Garza. I'm going to look into this, man. But go ahead, Gonzalo. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Mentioned, in with how do you call it, when los galgos, when they race the dogs and they show him the fucking rabbit and he's chasing the rabbit. You know that dog's never gonna catch the rabbit, but he always thinks he can. That's what I'm saying. That keeps that fucking dog trying extra hard. I think that this is like Chisora, man. This dude ain't putting a beating on me. I actually think that I can compete with them, but I'm never gonna really actually beat him. He's just making me believe that I can. So I just keep trying that extra harder. That's what that's why he gets wore out.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. But all I'm saying is that's when the corner comes in. Because evidently he convinced his corner into not stopping the fight. Just like he convinced himself that he could take that type of fight or beating without falling over. But still, I mean, they should have pulled him out. But hey, listen, I commend him for his courage. That's for sure. That's something you can't buy. I forgot to mention something about the Estrada fight. When I was rewatching it, the last round ended and the zone clock still had 9 seconds left. Now, I don't know if that's because they forgot to pause it or they actually had called timeout sometime beforehand and they forgot to add that to the clock. I don't know. But that was weird too, man. So if anybody, and apparently somebody told me in the Discord that that happened 2 or 3 times too throughout the fight. So I just wanted to mention that. And if anybody can give me more information about the other rounds in which that occurred, that would be fantastic. Daniel Dubois, by the way, also fought on the undercard. I had to watch the fight today because I didn't watch it last evening. That was weird, man. He fights a southpaw guy that drops him 3 times with some weird looking shots. Delayed reaction on 3 of those, by the way. Then Dubois returns, composes himself, hurts the guy, and just as the bell rings to end the round, referee jumps in and stops the fight. Now, I understand he was snapping the other dude's head back, but he was weird and, dare I say, unjust to give Dubois 2 chances. Because, okay, after 1 knockdown, you don't stop the fight. But the second knockdown from that Dubois incurred, he actually missed with 1 shot and then just flopped to the ring, which indicated that he was severely hurt. That the referee gives him a chance there and the 3rd knockdown, which also looked bad. But then immediately pulls the lever on his opponent when Dubois hurts him, especially as the bell was ringing. Now, I understand the bell's ringing, that the referee's not thinking about, well, how many seconds left before the round ends. But I don't know. It was weird. I thought it was a bad stoppage. It made me wonder if they're giving Dubois the benefit of the doubt. For what? Too many close calls, too many gifts. They're not gonna endear that fighter to the fans. So why would they continue to give him this type of benefit of the doubts? Is he that big a star that they need to save the guy and they need to make him look bad this way by giving him this type of gifts? I don't know, guys. I don't know if you saw that, but if so, what did you think?
Yeah, he hit him right at the bell. Actually, I think it was a little bit after the bell, like a split second, when he landed that punch and the referee stepped in. I don't know, man. The guy got hit with the hard shot. Was he cold? I think Andre Ward was speaking a little bit about that in the fight prior, because they actually put up the records, like in England in the month of December. This is one of like the coldest nights ever, like in boxing in the modern era. They even put up the like. It was really supposed to be like a really like cold night. I mean, so I mean he mentioned it earlier, Andre Ward, in the fight prior. And it's true. When the body's heated up, you can actually take a punch better. And I think it was the first fucking round, and the guy was a little cold, so his body wasn't like he hadn't created the friction to like actually get the blood, a little bit warm, to where you actually like you can actually like take a shot better. And so, but regardless, the guy got hit with the crazy fucking punch, like a hard shot. That in the second knockdown, Dubois ended up taking a knee because he was still hurt from the first knockdown. And yeah, he dropped him 3 times. I don't know what. Before you get dropped 3 times, you lose the fight. I think the rule doesn't exist any longer. But I mean, you give him the benefit of the doubt in the first round. Why not give the other fighter the benefit of the doubt in the second round?
Yeah,
I don't know which was it, the third or the second? I think it was the third.
It depends on the sanctioning bodies, bro, or the state the fight's being held in. Some guys have the 3 knockdown rule, others don't.
Well, by the way, this
Just
was
that's
a
all I
Frank
wanted to
Warren.
say. Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, this was a Frank Warren promotion, like Sargent said in the chat. So that makes sense too. It's he doesn't have that many fighters, this guy. So he wants to protect Dubois. He's gonna do it, no matter the cost and no matter how bad it looks to boxing fans. Give the guy the benefit of the doubt, man. Okay, he's getting stunned. Yeah, okay, they're big shots. It's a heavyweight division, but that's why I'm very adamant about staying consistent in the application of the rules. Meaning, cheating is cheating. Okay, yes, you can do more damage with a low blow than with a clinch, but that doesn't mean you should give more leeway to one or the other. You should be fair with all those rules. The reason why I say that is because you got to be consistent throughout the board with your scoring criteria as well, so that everything feeds off each other, like Confucianism. You set an example by setting an example, and everything ties together. And like Taoism as well, everything ties together. Everything's tied up. Everything is everything. And so it should be the same thing with stoppages. I think people should be consistent and let guys really get hurt. Look, especially at this level, they're getting paid. Nobody's forcing them to box. If you ask most boxers, they'll say, yeah, let me get hurt. Give me the benefit of the doubt so maybe I can get out of a bad situation, but don't just stop the fight. So boxers themselves will tell you that. Let them get beat up, man. Again, a guy's not going to get killed because the fight got stopped too late. You know, most of the times, unless the guy gets tangled up on the ropes, like Benny the Kid Parade, he's going to fall over. Nature's going to take its course. Gravity's going to do its job. So with this Dubois thing, they should not have stopped the fight. But it's pretty clear that Frank Warren needs his baby goose, his golden goose, and that's one of them is Dubois. So that's my thing on that. Gonna be open. Oh yeah, if phone lines are open, fellas. In case you want to call in, give us your score from the Estrada Chocolatito fight. That whole controversy. Again, I'm very curious to hear how people scored that, what their criteria is. What else was I gonna mention? Well, we talked about the Dubois thing. We talked about so Dubois. By the way, Dubois bad defense too. That's how he got caught against this dude. He just he probably has a bad chin too, but it's the way he got cut. I mean, this dude just goes to show you how a lot of people used to compare him to Anthony Joshua. I think that's an insult to Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua's much better fighter than Daniel Dubois. And Dubois is going to be a problem because of his size, and he can move pretty well for a guy his size. But that defense, man, I mean, someone's going to take him out eventually. I don't think anybody would be surprised about that. So like I said, phone lines are open, fellas. Call in. Call in. Hey, what do you think is next for a guy like... oh, by the way, yeah, okay. This is the other thing I want to talk about. Fury and Usyk going at it after the fight. Jimmy, I don't know, maybe you didn't see it because I don't know if you caught it, but Fury, they asked him about Usyk. Usyk was in the crowd. So Fury starts looking for Usyk in the crowd. Usyk moves up, goes into the ring, but actually doesn't... He got on the ring, but not inside of it. He stayed outside the ropes. Fury starts screaming at him, you little midget, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Usyk was just staring him down. It was very anticlimactic. And dare I say, cringe. It was just, they were clearly trying to build up something. Then Joey Joyce got into it. And he says, well, I'll fight you too, man, if you want to. I ain't no midget or something to that effect. And then Fury says, let's do a three-way, WWE matchup, three-way. And it's like, what the fuck does that mean? And the people were cheering. They were eating it up. I had to assume it's because they were drunk. But I certainly did not enjoy it. I understand what they were trying to do. It was better than nothing. But what do you guys think? Oh, and then, by the way, Fury afterwards, he said he had an injury and that he might be taking some time off. Well, what do you guys think is going to happen here? Do you even care about what happens next with Fury Usyk?
Well, yeah, in a way we do. I'm sorry, Jimmy, go ahead.
Chief said. No, Chief, I didn't even know you were there, brother. Sorry, go ahead, bro.
Oh, thank you. I just jumped in while you guys were talking about the Dubois thing. First on Dubois, my take on the enforcing the rules evenly and everything, which you've stated, Mr. BDA. Some rules are going to be looked at differently just because a low blow versus clinching. Clinching is not going to physically hurt someone unless you're trying to twist their arm and break it. Usually it's not going to. But you hit someone below the belt, that can affect their manhood for the rest of their life. So that's why, even though I agree with you 100%, but the perception of the damage of what can happen and why the rules are going to be enforced differently. That's just all there is to it.
That's even
though you're more correct than the perception.
I made the distinction that I know a low blow is going to cause more damage than a clinch, but that it's still nevertheless breaking the rules, and that's why they have to be enforced. Because then that gives people the leeway to, well, when I'm scoring it this way. Any type of subjectivity is only going to ruin the sport. The people have to keep it as objective as possible. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and you're completely right. Way back in the day when L-Dog was still coming around, we had nice debates about how to judge a fight, but he was pretty spot on some of the stuff. You go by the criteria, then there's no interpretation. Did this happen? Yes. Check this way. Did someone control this many factors out of the 5 factors? Yes, and they win that round. If you do that, then there's really no subjectivity. But moving on to Tyson Fury and Usyk and whatever that debacle turns into be, I don't blame Joe Joyce for getting in there and trying to get his name in there. He's getting older and he wants a title shot. I don't blame him. I didn't particularly like it, but I don't blame him. Usyk's not going to sell that fight. I love Usyk. I love the fact that he acknowledges the same savior I do. He seems like a good Christian man. A family man, loves his country, even though I don't love his country, but I love patriotism towards where you're from. So I've got to respect him for that. But he's not going to sell a ticket. He's not going to stand up there and yell back. He's not going to stand on a chair and demand a title shot. He's not going to do any of that. So him going up there just to stare Fury down was probably the most they're going to get out of him to promote that fight. Mm-hmm. I hate to say it. What he's done in the ring, his body of work, and what boxing fans know about him, Tyson Fury is going to have to do the rest of the work to try and make that where the fight that technically it should be. It's for all the marbles, is the heavyweight crown. But at the same time, no one deserves huge paydays in boxing. It's what you're going to be able to. It's a product. What are you going to be able to want people to want to come see and buy? And I love watching Usyk fight, but the guys in the middle of the country where I'm from probably don't care too much. If they do care about boxing, they don't care about a guy that's just consistently trying to show you how much smarter he is than everyone else. And if you're not going to put some mustard on your shots and try to finish someone off, they're going to lose interest in you. That's just all there is to it. If that's the case, and you don't have any bravado to go with you, and no machismo that people are going to try and buy on board with, you're not going to sell a major fight off of that. And because you're not going to sell a major fight, Fury's going to have to do all the work promoting it. With that being said, that's probably as far as the interest is going to. People are going to want to see it for Undisputed, but people in Ukraine are going to see it, throughout Europe and in England, and us boxing heads over here are going to want to see it. But nobody else is really going to jump on the bandwagon to really make this a record-setting pay-per-view event, because the opponent, being Usyk, just doesn't sell to the mainstream because of his personality. He does in Europe. He'll make a lot of money in Europe. He just doesn't bring a lot over here.
Yeah, cheap. Wouldn't you think that once you're there already, like you reach the top of the mountain, why not check the last block off and get it all, let's just get it over with. Let's have one guy be unified.
I'm with you, and I think the fight's going to happen. What I'm saying is to make it the event that, let's put it this way. Let's go back to the 90s when it was Undisputed Championship for Holyfield versus Bo. I don't know what kind of numbers it did because pay-per-view technology wasn't what it is now, but everybody wanted to see it. I remember it being a huge deal, and everyone was talking about it for weeks. Usyk doesn't have that appeal that anyone's going to do that with. I'm not arguing against you saying that we need to make the fight happen. We do. But the event that we're trying to make it into isn't going to work from Usyk's personality and him wanting to fight. It's just not going to, he's not going to bring that. It's going to have to come from Fury running his mouth and selling the event. That's what it's going to have to come from.
Hello?
Hello?
I was done.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah. Okay. That we got. He's calling Usyk out, right? So are they gonna bypass the Andy Ruiz, he's supposed to be fighting Wilder in an elimination bout?
Yeah, and then that can happen. While they're doing that for the elimination bout, that's going to eventually push a fight towards Tyson Fury to have to fight, because he's still WBC champion. That'll force his hand within the next 6 months to a year after that fight happens. And if we don't care to see Wilder fight again, if we want the undisputed, we need to do it sooner than later. Otherwise, we're going to have Wilder Fury 4, unless Andy Ruiz wins. And I'm sorry, I don't want to see that fight. I've listened to what you said about him, Gonzo, and I love you to death. And you're right about his fast hands. Andy Ruiz does nothing for me. He is the Buster Douglas of this generation, and that's as good as he's going to get, and that's as good as he's ever going to be. And he's not. If he beats Wilder, it's not going to be in a spectacular fashion, and he cannot beat Tyson Fury. So
yeah, that's a good point.
I don't want to see that.
Although Ruiz does better against taller guys. Man, he's just been very like lukewarm. Andy Ruiz has. The other guy that was there at the fight, he deserves a title opportunity. He's been doing what he needs to do. Joyce, he brings some interesting things to the table. That swarming, like heavy-handed style, puts a lot of pressure.
Big, tall.
Yep. And against Tyson Fury, I don't know how that'll play out. I still think Tyson Fury, he got the skills to keep that dude off of him. Especially with Joyce, he's always like leaning into his jab, touching you with that jab consistently. Maybe if Tyson Fury can take that away from Joyce, his ability to be consistent with the jab, he doesn't get his skull cracked like Daniel Dubois. And if he can do that, he can put his punches together and outbox Joyce. So actually, I think he gets the victory because he got that size.
I agree, and I think that is a match that if we don't get Usyk Fury, that I'd be interested with Joyce against either one of them, particularly Fury, because I think that wasn't Joyce the one that Usyk fought in the World Series of Boxing?
Yeah, he did.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Right, so they already know each other. So that I think that's going to play a toll on it being a little less than. It's not going to be as exciting as people are going to want it to be because Usyk, the most cerebral fighter in the heavyweight division, already knows what he's getting into. Even though I'm sure Joyce has gotten better, so has Usyk. So I don't think that one's going to be as exciting as people want. But Joyce versus Fury, that's a different story. First of all, both of them run their mouths. And they're both big guys. I can see some pushing at some press conferences to stir some trouble up. And when you get in the ring, you got two big men that know how to punch. One's more skilled than the other, but both of them can fight. And they both appear to have chins. So, yeah, I could see that one being more entertaining. That's about the only fight I could see wanting to be overly energized, other than maybe, even though I think I know who the winner's going to be, Fury and Joshua, just because the British pride would be on the line. I think Joshua would bring a good game, even though I can't see him winning that fight. I think he would give his all, and that would make it an entertaining fight. But that's as far as I see that one going. And that's all I really care about in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, there's not much going on in the heavyweight division, that's for sure. Fellas, let me get to a phone call here real quick. And yes, indeed, the phone lines are open. So, fellas, make sure to call in. I want to hear from these people, especially about the Estrada Chocolatito rubber match, which really set the world on fire. A lot of controversy here, a lot of divide. All right, let's go to 386 here. 386, you're on the air. 386, what's on your mind?
Hey, yo, what's up, BDA? Hope you're all well. Hope everybody is merry going into the Christmas month. See, I completely disagree with Boxing Chief with everything he just said. I think Usyk Ukraine is kind of the center of the world right now, and Usyk being the unified heavyweight champion from Ukraine, and he just fought AJ twice, and I think they did solid numbers. He's going to get AJ's fans who just fought. So if Fury and Usyk were to fight, I think it does fine numbers. I don't even think anybody has to sell the fight. I think everybody already wants to see that. But I wouldn't get your hopes up because it's just Usyk is too much of a risk. And if you look at Fury's behavior, his past, he doesn't take risks. I mean, he fought an old Klitschko, and he keeps fighting Wilder. I mean, he said he was going to fight Chisora and then retire. So I don't even think it's worth talking about. But if they do fight, it's going to be pretty gnarly.
Chief, you want to reply to that?
Stepped away for a second. I heard the end of it.
Well, I mean, he says he
what did
disagrees
you
with
say?
he disagreed about he says that the Usyk Fury fight would be big because of the fact that Usyk would be getting a lot of the Joshua. In other words, he says that a lot of the people that are Joshua fans are going to know who Usyk is, and if you add the nationalism aspect to it of England, maybe they want England to get one back against the Ukrainian. That's essentially what he's saying.
Right. I just don't see that being huge.
And Chief, Ukraine is kind of in the news every day. They're trying to build I think they're really trying to. I mean, it sounds terrible, but use what's going on to build a Ukrainian superstar. And yeah, I don't even think. I mean, Usyk doesn't need that personality. I mean, all boxing fans, we know who he is. I mean, they're going to get the hardcores and a lot of fans. I mean, the fight sells itself. It's just I wouldn't get our hopes up because I don't think it's going to happen. Fury doesn't take risks.
Chief, you want to?
I mean, you can buy a risk against anybody. I mean, Fury already said he didn't need any more money, and then he came out of retirement and just received I don't know how much money he made in this last fight, but if he keeps selling in England and makes high 7, low 8 figures on guys like Chisora and makes nice 6 figures against guys like Dillian White in England, then or 7 figures, excuse me, and then basically tens of millions is what I'm trying to get at. I'm throwing off on my numbers, but anyway, bottom line is if the fight does happen, I see it being I don't see it being in Europe. I see it being in Saudi Arabia, where they pay big money, and that will do there. And as far as what it sells back, it will sell back huge in Europe. I already stated that, and I agree with you there. Worldwide, I just don't see it being big here. I don't see people overly caring to where it's going to cross like 1 million pay-per-view buys in America. That's not the end-all be-all, but I look at it from my point of view. A huge success. They're not going to report worldwide numbers. They're going to report what the numbers do here in my area, in this country, and that's what the Americans are going to consider success or not. Now, what Saudi Arabia put in and what the numbers do over in Europe, most articles will say, okay, well, it did well in Europe, but they usually don't go into that because people around here don't care about that. They care they care about the results, then they care about the business. For the deeper people like all of us on this board and you, caller, we care about that.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, Steve. He's not American, but I just don't. I don't think that's a big deal because AJ and Usyk just happened. But I'll let you guys get on with the show. It stings because I just don't see Fury. I mean, not even talking about the financial aspect. I just think Usyk. I mean, even if Fury beats this guy, he is going to be in for the fight of his life. It's going to be a stressful night, and Fury doesn't do that stuff. It's going to be a Mayweather-Pacquiao, and it's just going to be a letdown. And yeah, the most entertaining part of last night was when Usyk did get in the ring. I mean, he doesn't even have to say anything, but it's just I don't see it happening, guys.
All right, well, that's Jackson's take on that. Jackson, thank you for calling in as always, and we'll catch you in the next one, all right, man? Take it easy out there.
Yeah, have a good one, guys.
Have a good night, sir.
Good one. All right, let's go to another phone call here. Don't forget, fellas, the phone number is right there in the middle left-hand portion of your screen. Let's go to 323 here. 323, you're on the air. 323, what's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, EDA? What's going on, you guys? I didn't see the Fury fight, of course. I just didn't want to. I think just his antics are a little cringe right now. The whole thing left a bad taste in my mouth ever since he announced the fight. I thought it was a joke at first. So, I don't know, man. I just, it was just so disappointing. The only fight I really wanted to see was the Chocolatito, but I didn't get to see the Chocolatito fight. I was just too busy last night. But I'm going to watch it today. But I want to touch on something you guys were mentioning about Daniel Dubois, because I could remember 2 years ago people being, including myself, being a little high on Dubois, hey, this guy's going to be really good. And then I noticed he doesn't really move his head. And I don't know what you guys think, but I wasn't surprised that Joe Joyce put that beating on him because he really doesn't have that head movement, and his skills haven't really gotten that good. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
I was just going to say, I think a lot of people not hype, but kind of want a heavyweight to do better because we just want this division to do better. It's been so anemic for so many years. It's like anybody shows a little skill, you're like, yeah, come on, you be the guy. It's just for that reason, maybe.
Exactly.
But I'm done.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what people are doing with Jared Anderson too.
No, it was just disappointing. I mean, I heard about what happened in the fight. I think I saw it on another podcast or something on YouTube that he got knocked down 3 times in one round, and obviously, they did the guy a favor, but it's just so slim right now, and the antics really don't make it any better. Like it's just cringe, man. It's just like it was almost as cringe as when drunk Charlo fight nobody. Jermel Charlo went up to Bevel and drunkenly wanted to fight with him, and it's just shit like that.
It's
true.
You're absolutely right, man.
It's just a little cringy, and I think we've had too many cringeworthy moments lately. So I want to see some good fights. Everybody wants to see some good fights. I don't know what's going on, but I'm thinking I got Usyk if Fury and Usyk fight. It'll be a tough fight for Usyk, but Usyk's a consummate professional, and I think that he dedicates himself. I don't think he lets himself get out of shape. I saw photos of the fight with Chisora, and Tyson Fury's love handles had love handles. So I don't know what to say, man.
Yeah, that was between that and then later on seeing Reynoso's ass crack later on the zone. It was enough fatzos out there for the day. Didn't really need to see any of them, man.
Well, can I ask the caller real quick? I didn't get to see it when he asked Bivol for a fight. Like I just saw the pictures in the column. I didn't actually hear it, the audio. Is it true that Bivol said, "Who are you?"
Is it true that what?
No, I was asking, was it true that when he said, "Hey, you and I can do it at 168 for unification," is it true Bivol turned and looked at him and said, "Who the hell are you?" Like he didn't know who he was, or was somebody just joking?
Like it was more like, "Who are you?" Because you don't even have a belt at that weight class. Like what are you talking about?
I know.
It was really cringe. I mean, he was slurring, so he must have been on a nice booze and coke cocktail.
Oh,
but he looked like a fucking retard. I mean, you're talking about a guy that hasn't fought in almost 2 years, and he's coming out calling out Bivol. It's just.
It reminded me of when Teofimo Lopez. It reminded me of when Teofimo Lopez wanted to fight Josh Taylor at a catchweight so that they could win all the belts from 2 different weight divisions. Like, come on, man. But anyway, listen, caller, we got to move on, man.
Yeah, that was almost like a photo bomb. You know what I mean? That was almost like a selfie bomb. Like, hey, there he is. Get my picture with him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was terrible.
I don't know if you guys remember when Lopez went up on stage with Canelo. I think Canelo was about to fight Plant, or he had just beat Plant, and he had all the belts on him. And then Lopez goes up on the stage and photobombs with all of his belts next to Canelo.
Yeah, I remember.
And kind of like trying to like get in on the moment or get some kind of credibility, but it's just cringe moments. That guy is also super cringe. Every time I hear the dad talk, I just want to my shoe up his fucking ass. It's just
no, wait a minute. You can't say that.
This guy has.
But yeah, I get you, man. And listen. Here's the thing with Teofimo Lopez, they should really keep him in the basement somewhere until it's fight night, because he'll just say some things that makes you go, "What?" Well, listen, caller, we got to move on, man. But thank you for your call, and call back next time, right, man?
All right, man. I'll see you guys.
All right, take it easy, man. Thank you for your call. Yeah, that call cheered me up, man, from all that heavyweight talk, because like Chief was saying, and that the caller too, this heavyweight division is just it's very thin, and the fact that they have to turn it into a circus to try to get people hyped up is getting tiresome. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 773. 773, you're on the air. 773, what's on your mind?
What's up?
Oh, K-Dog. Is this K-Dog?
K-Dog.
K-Dog calling in, man. What's up,
Let's talk about Usyk and Fury. His name is Usyk. What's up with Fury? And he's not accepting the Usyk fight. He's kind of like brushing him off. I don't want to. We might do the Joe Joyce fight. The Joyce fight. That might be an option. It's like you got the unification. You got to do with 3 belts, and he keeps playing these stupid games. Just say Usyk gets next. That's the fight to make. 100% lock. But he's playing these games. What's he doing?
I mean, you tell me, K-Dog, is he grading you the way he's grading most of the boxing fan base out there?
He's grading me, man. He's grading me.
Oh, boy.
And also, another thing, you see he was getting beat up to that body. He wasn't liking them body shots. Anybody else notice that? I
did.
Oh, yeah. He was getting tore up to the body. And I saw him back off a few times. It's just Chisora didn't have the gas tank to put the pedal on. He would just throw 1 at a time, throw 2 at a time, then he was gassed. The dude just terrible conditioning. But, yeah, like the one caller said, he really didn't look too good. He was just kind of showing up for a sparring session. And if he shows up like that against Usyk, it's a wrap. He's going to get picked apart.
Very interesting.
Anybody else disagree with me?
Well, let me get a poll here, a small poll here, a quick poll rather. Panelists, anybody disagree with the K-Dog? I would be surprised if he did.
Panelists are quiet over there.
He's not gonna
what
show
are
up
you
like
panelists
that.
doing? Who we got? We got Jimmy, we got Gonzalo.
We got Chief. Yeah, nobody wants to disagree with the K-Dog. I think everybody's on the same page as you are. Or you the same page as you?
No, we're letting everybody go, and everybody got to take their turn. I was waiting for other guys to talk first.
I'm just done with Fury.
I said my pace, but we got to bump it back and forth. That's how I say something, you say something. You know, you can't just be rambling.
Well,
I don't want to be a rambling fool. I need to hear some feedback.
Usually this would happen if you said something but everyone agrees with you, number one. Number two, I guess we need Stu in here in order to antagonize you or him back and forth. But
no, I mean, I don't fully agree with K-Dog. I don't think it's going to be... It was going to be a tough fight for both guys. That part I do agree with. What I don't agree with is the fact that I don't think it's going to be an easy fight for just picking apart Tyson Fury. When he will do what Joshua couldn't do, is grab him, lean on him, throw him around, do all these rough things that Joshua... That's how Joshua could have won that fight, and he didn't know how to do it. Fury does know how to do it. And he weighs 40 pounds more than Joshua does. Now, Usyk got tired in both fights. So is he going to get tired with a 200, almost 300-pound man leaning on him for 12 rounds? If Fury stays outside, tries to box, Kevin's right. He's not going to do that because he knows he can't win that way. That's why I think he's got a chance of winning. It's going to be a long night for either one because Fury has to catch him first. He has to get him in the corner, get his mitts on him to rough him up first, and that's not going to be easy. But once he does, what kind of toll is that going to take on Usyk? Again, I just said tonight, that's my favorite guy in the division, but I have to be a realist. If you got tired twice with a 240-pound guy not leaning on you at 35 years old, what's going to happen with a 290-pound man, 6'9", that will lean on you? How much more tired are you going to get?
290 pounds?
Yeah, but he caught his second win, though. He caught his second win and finished strong. It's not like he was gassed and he just fell apart.
But he caught a second win because the guy wasn't leaning on him. Are you going to be able to catch a second win with 270 pounds leaning on you?
He doesn't get leaned on. Usyk, he ain't going to allow that. He ain't going to allow it.
Well, it remains to be seen. It remains to be seen. Because Joshua didn't even try to do it. That's one of the reasons why we have to ask this question. Skill-wise, you and I are not on a different page at all. Skill-wise, you and I are not on a different page.
Got good feet work. 2 feet.
Listen.
Move.
That's K-Dog's opinion. We found out.
Boys too.
Yeah, we found out Chief disagrees with K-Dog. I gotta commend you, Chief. Most people don't want to go up against K-Dog. They gotta be insane to do it, but you certainly did so. All right, shout out to you, Kevin. Thank you for your comment. There you go. All right, let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 760. 760, you're in the air. 760, what's on your mind?
What's happening? You know who, you know from where. Let's get into it.
Oh, Jackson calling back. What's up, Jackson?
Of course. All black guys sound alike. Mr.
I said
BDA.
Jackson. Jackson is the whitest sounding guy out there. You missed anyway. Whatever. Go ahead, Boom. What's up, man?
Yeah, well, missed a lot. What happened? Pitbull duck, William Zepeda duck, Jaime Mugia duck Jenna back for the second time. Yeah, lots happening. These guys don't want to fight for championships. We need to start punishing these guys for ducking.
It's embarrassing.
Let's see, Chocolate Man, Roman, Gonzalez, and Estrada. The grudge match, the glorified grudge match is over. They should both retire. I mean, it was some good Mexican style boxing. I mean, it wasn't the roughest, but I give it to those guys. Those guys had long careers. So my hat goes off to them, but hopefully they can inspire some of these other guys to take fights. You know, Fury, let me get into Fury. Fury's the greatest heavyweight champ of today's age. Nobody's beating him. He's just the right size and has the right ability to take on super heavyweights and smaller heavyweights. I'm not going to say Usyk's going to be an easy challenge, but he has Usyk's number. He's too big and it is able to move. You say the body shots was hurting him yesterday? Get the hell out of here. He wasn't even trying yesterday. The only thing he was trying to do was not knock out his friend. He was trying to send his friend off with a nice payday, and that's it. He didn't want to knock the guy out. The guy took punishment, and he wasn't even trying to knock him out. So
could have fooled me the way he was trying. It could have fooled me the way he was trying to line up those uppercuts. But yeah, go ahead.
I mean, you could tell he was holding back. He wanted the fight stopped. You know, he could have knocked him out. I seen him holding back. And he didn't train. You look at him. He didn't train for that fight. He didn't come in tip-top shape. I think he could have knocked him out faster than he did Dillian White.
I mean,
but anyway, Fury is the greatest.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
Well, Boom Boom, I want to say I agree with you real quick about like these ducking, these guys not taking fights. Steve Kim put out a good tweet after the Munguia news dropped. He tweeted something. If you duck a mandate like that, you should be taken off the top 10 pound for pound. You should just be bounced off. You should lose your status and all the belts. You know what I mean? Like if you openly do something like that, I mean, yeah, no, it's frustrating. And then they wonder why you go and you watch UFC, and it's just, yeah, no, terrible. I agree. Anyways, I'm done.
But you know what, man? I kind of see it the other way with those two other guys, like Isaac Cruz and I forget the other guy. Isaac Cruz. I think he was a mandatory, or they made him the mandatory for Shakur Stevenson. But listen. He's with the PBC. They're probably telling him, hey, listen, we'll get you Tank Davis. It's going to be more money. Why would you want to fight a guy, Shakur Stevenson, that obviously ESPN's protecting him? They let him punch guys in the balls without even warning him about it. Doesn't even try to make weight to let him do that.
Mr. So, I doubt they told him anything. I bet you they just didn't say nothing. They just told him, no, you're not fighting him.
That's what I'm saying.
We'll call you when we got some for you.
Yeah, that too. But I mean, it goes both ways.
Busy. Tank is booked for the whole year of 2023. And Shakur, it's coming down to him having to fight a guy who just got brutally beat by Haney twice. Shakur is now going to have to fight Kambosa. If Kambosa rejects the fight, he's going to have to keep going down the line. This isn't are these warriors or what? Why are these guys in the top 10?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It goes both ways. I mean, we talk about warriors, but why would one guy want to step in there against a guy that's not a warrior, that's hitting in the balls, not making weight, and the system allows it? I mean, it's the system's fault as well, man. I'm not condoning it, but all I'm saying is that's the problem with boxing now. These guys are looking after themselves more than ever, while the boxing fan gets left in the dust, or in the dirt, rather. By the way, we got King Butcher here. He asked me, Butcher, are you there? Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I forgot the duck, Bucho. Bucho's a duck.
Bucho's a duck for what? Why, were you guys going to fight or something? What the fuck?
He's ducking me, man. I haven't heard him in a while, man. He's ducking me.
Butcher, you there?
He used to come on every Friday.
But we don't even have Friday shows anymore. But Butcher, go ahead, man.
Hey, but let me say this before
I'm here. I'm here. What
now,
the hell?
See, I forgot.
Butcher, you said you wanted in.
Never mind.
Well, let him finish. Let him finish.
No, I forgot what I was going to say.
I was going to say that Fury is like, why is he always out of shape? Like, that's flab. I couldn't stop looking at it, man. He's jumping around, and the flab keeps moving. Isn't he a professional boxer? And then after the fight, he's eating a burger with Chisora, and that's just like a hold on.
No, I agree with that, man. But listen, look, at this point, with that book is out on Fury, man. He doesn't have to show up in ripped. Like people say, he showed up out of shape. When, like, I mean, he was fat when he fought Vladimir Klitschko. I mean, he was that was the leanest we've ever seen him, or some of the the most leanest we've seen him. But he's still a fatso. He's not. Listen, he's not going to show up looking like fucking Anthony Joshua. So I don't know what people expect from him with that.
And he hasn't been lean.
Why does he have to?
That's what I'm saying. That's his body type.
Where's the motivation?
I think he's motivated. I just don't. Even
Well,
if
I
he
agree.
trains, he's
That's
not going to look
body
like
type. But
right.
If the opponent required to get in shape, he would have got in shape. But you put Chisora in front of him, or whatever his name is, you put him in front of him. I don't have to do anything. Why would I kill myself during a training camp when I can beat this guy with one hand?
I mean, I don't know. Where do we get that? Where do we get the idea that he didn't train? Did he look sloppy in there?
You look at him, but he didn't have to. No, he didn't look like go back to the fights with Wilder. He was in better shape. He knew he had to be in tip-top shape, to fight Wilder.
But I just asked what makes you. I just asked you, how do you characterize the fact that he wasn't in shape? Like, what made you see that he was out of shape compared to the Wilder fights, like you said?
Let me jump in real quick.
He didn't look slim.
I'm asking Boom
during the Wilder fights, and on top,
go ahead, Boom.
He just didn't look like he was trying in there.
No, you're not explaining it properly. But anyway, listen, we gotta get to other calls.
He didn't look like he was trying.
All right, whatever. We gotta get to other calls. Butcher says he's back. Butcher, did you want to say something, or are you just saying you're back for the sake of saying you're back?
Oh, should say that eating that burger was fake. He's trying to make us believe that this guy doesn't eat burgers during training, right in the preparation for the fight. But I'm sure he's doing it. But he just ate a burger after a fight, so we think that, oh, well, now he's eating a burger finally. Oh, good for him. No, he's always eating fucking burgers. He looks disgusting. Anyway,
he's a fatso. What do you want from him, man? I mean, he runs. He does run. He does train. But he's a guy that because he's a heavyweight and it's particularly big guy with a big appetite. That's why you're never gonna see this guy looking.
I'm just saying he could do much better, man. He could do much better. I think he needs to hire a chef or one of those guys, man. I saw a video of him and that guy from the mountain. The guy from Game of Thrones, bodybuilder, strongman, whatever. The strong guy. So he said, I have my chef right here with me. I'll introduce you to my chef. He should go with that chef, man.
All right,
go get that chef.
We'll see, man. We'll see. Hey, well, listen, Boom. Thank you for your call. We gotta move on, and we'll catch you in the next one, right, man?
Peace.
All right, take it easy. Yeah, this conversation was a little bit bizarre, man. But look, Fury, he's pissed off a whole bunch of people. I understand what he's doing, by the way. He's playing. It's gotten to the point where he got so much fallback or criticism from his decision to fight Chisora that he's doubling down even more. That's the type of guy he is. At the same time, though, he was really trying to build it up afterwards, after the fight. Like, Chisora stood in front of the ring. He took my shots. Look at the amount of people.
Are you guys getting tired of his bullshit, though? Of his comments? I mean, after the deal, was it after the Dylan White fight?
That's what I'm saying, is that the fact that he was really trying to push it after the fight, saying, look at how many people showed up. Thank you, everybody. Chisora took my shots. Like, he was trying to make it out as if it was a war. This guy's really trying to oversell things now at this point, and that's because he himself has to know that he's not delivering in terms of the quality of the product.
Nope.
Okay, well, he has to fight Usyk right now, like right after this fight. Like, no more bullshit, and we the fans have to do something about this. We need to spam his social media or something and make fun of this, because it's enough.
Steve Kim talked about this before back in the day, and he and I think, probably chatted a little bit through CBS Sportsline and stuff like that. We did what was called a boycott for Roy Jones. We boycotted his fights. We didn't watch his pay-per-views when he was fighting Julio Gonzalez, because he should have been fighting Darius Michalczewski. And the pay-per-view numbers were terrible. That's why Roy never made a $5 million guaranteed payday until after he beat John Ruiz. The fans got together. We talked about it. We boycotted his fights. We watched the free replay, so we still knew what was going on. But he didn't make the big money when it was over. And this was like a internet wide thing. All the internet chat rooms I was talking about, everybody's, yeah, Roy cut, don't get the fight. Nope. If Roy's fighting and it's not Trinidad, because Trinidad was looking to fight him back then. If it's not Trinidad, if it's not Hopkins, if it's not John Ruiz, if it's not Darius Michalczewski, or a heavyweight fight, John Ruiz happened to be the heavyweight that got it, then we're not watching. And sure enough, anytime they did a pay-per-view, the numbers were terrible. They were absolutely awful. I don't even think he crossed 500 grand. And we need to do the same thing to Tyson Fury is what you guys are saying, and I'm on board with it.
And I'd say he wasn't in shape for the third Wilder fight either. Tyson Fury, I thought he came in bad shape for that. Remember, he was guppying by the fourth round, breathing with his mouth wide open.
Yeah, that one. You at least see that you can see. That's how you. When you ask somebody, "Hey, why do you say this guy was out of shape?" That's the way Jimmy just said it. Yeah, he's telling you why he looked out of shape. He was sluggish. He was breathing heavily in the third, fourth, and he was slow as fuck. So, but in this one, hey, maybe he was out of shape, and Chisora has that shot that Fury just looked better than he did. I don't know. But here's the other thing. We're going back to the Roy cut. I'm glad you mentioned the Roy cut and not the Roy cut, because that was I don't know if you guys saw what happened a couple of years ago with Roy. He actually sent some salty pics over the internet, which is a big no-no. But anyway, the Roy cut, that's it. You know what the worst thing is for these fighters, and that's why I agree with Butcher that we need to clown them for their own good, because it's ironic that at the end of these guys' careers, guys like Fury and Roy Jones, for example, he had a bad attitude. When he was on top of the pound-for-pound list, he thought he was cock of the walk, no pun intended. And sometimes he would show up late to press conferences. He would have an attitude when he was talking with the media. He would, obviously, we remember that when he would fight, sanitation workers and police officers, it was just awful. And then what happened? The ultimate irony. He continued fighting on, getting knocked out multiple times. This is from a guy, by the way, that got traumatized by the Jerome McClellan incident. And it's the same thing with Tyson Fury and other fighters. They trying to do what they want to do, fight the least for the most money, and then when it's time to retire, they don't want to because they're fighters and that's all they know what to do, and they end up getting hurt. So we need to drill into their heads. Hey, fuckos, the time is now. Now is the time when you take the best fights. Now is the time when you take risks, so that you don't have to get your ass knocked out 50 times in a row when you're in your early 40s.
Yep. Well, why did Fury call out Joe Joyce as well? Like, I mean, at this point, there needs to be a unification that takes place, right? That should be his priority, a unification fight. But then he's also like, he's calling out Usyk, but at the same time, he's calling out this other guy. Well, why? What is that?
I don't know. You're completely right. That's what needs to happen first, is the unification fight before you take on another contender. If he doesn't take on Usyk, though, then that's the contender he should face, in my opinion. But it needs to be Usyk. It needs to be unification. We need to have, and we need to do it quickly, because if we don't, the PBC, through whoever wins the Wilder Ruiz, are going to push that issue, and Fury may give up that belt, and then what does it matter anymore? If the belt's going to be split up again, then what's the purpose in even worrying about it?
That's a great point, Chief, because maybe Fury already knows this, and he might start waiting it out, man, just so later on he can blame the PBC. He's like, well, I wanted to make the fight, but, the WBC and the PBC, they're mandatory, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's what he's going to be doing, I think. He's going to wait it out, man. And then blame the other side blame somebody else for the fight not happening.
If Wilder wins, that's exactly what's going to happen. But if Andy Ruiz wins, I can see him taking that fight instead. I don't think he's the guy that takes the weakest opposition as much as some of his critics do. But I do think he likes to be in control of the whole thing, and therefore, if it doesn't happen when he wants, how he wants, and everything else, then that's why we didn't get the Joshua fight not too long ago. He dictated a date. He's doing what Floyd Mayweather did to Shane Mosley back in 2006. If you don't do it my way, the fight's not going to happen, and you're going to look like the duck, is what he's trying to portray. And I don't know if people are buying it now. They did buy it back then.
That's a good point, man. Excellent point. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps us out. So hit the like, and the phone lines are open. The phone number is in the left-hand middle portion of your screen, so make sure to call in. Oh, in fact, we got a phone call. Let's go to a phone call here. Let's go to 470. 470, you're on the air. 470, what's on your mind?
Yo, what up? Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man. What's up?
All right, I just want to talk about that Daniel Dubois fight. I don't know if anybody else saw that. It was like a fucking joke. It took me out of the event completely because that dude looked like he could have knocked him out, and then he visibly pulled back. He didn't throw any more shots. he waited for Dubois to come and finish him, bro. When Dubois was doing that finishing sequence, this guy threw back at him, and then, like, he rocked him again. He looked like he was going to drop him again, bro. And even then, he was like, oh, shit, let me stop throwing again. And then he just stopped. The referee stops it early. It was garbage, bro. It really took me out of the whole event. And then what Tyson Fury did afterwards, when he was playing around with Derek Chisora, that just made it even worse for me, bro. I really hope Usyk whoops his ass. Like somebody said in the chat, I feel sorry for the people that paid to watch all of that. But the fact that there seem to be people enjoying it, I got to tell you, alcohol will just make anything better, man. That's the old joke, too, from The Simpsons, where they're watching baseball sober and they go, I never realized how boring this was. It's the same thing. These guys just, that event last night over in England was just an excuse to go out and drink. Because I can't believe anybody would have enjoyed. Ah, man, it was disgusting. But you're right, caller. That Dubois fight, that was a protection job to the fullest degree, man. That was insane, bro. And then, I mean, for what? Were they going to step him up, let him fight Joe Joyce again so he could knock him out? For real this time? Like, it just really took me out of the event, bro. Pissed me off. And the way what Tyson Fury was doing, bro, playing around in there, like, just made everything look like exhibition, dude, the whole thing, like, It was absolutely abhorrent. I think it was pay-per-view over in the UK, believe it or not. It was offered here on my application package. I was able to watch it, but after the fourth round, I just started doing something else at the same time. But look, listen, I mean, I do agree with Chief. Chief said that there's way too many people cheating on Fury, and I think he does deserve to be shit on, but not to the point. Like, some people are saying now that he's a duck and that he's never going to fight Usyk. It's like, I've heard that before. I've heard that before from boxing fans about certain fighters. Like, he's never going to fight this guy, and then 6 months later, that fight happens. And there's no other big fight to happen. I don't believe Fury. I mean, what's he got to be scared of? Of a loss? Is he really that crazy? Is he really that crazy like Mayweather? That I don't want to lose my O. Nah, man. If he loses to Usyk, he's not gonna get beat up. He's not gonna get knocked that cold. I mean, he went in there with Deontay Wilder, who's a big puncher. So I don't know, man. I think some people are exaggerating, and I do believe the fight's gonna happen. What do you think, Cole? You think that the Usyk fight happens, or? Yeah, I don't think it's a doubt that he's gonna fight him. I just it was really that Daniel Dubois fight, and then the way Tyson Fury reacted. It made it look like a WWE event for me, and I guess that's what bothered me about it more than actual boxing matches. But I don't think he's not going to fight Usyk. I'm sure they'll fight. Well, hopefully, man. It's a new year, almost a new year in about 26 days, 28 days, 27 days. So it's going to be fantastic, man. It's going to be the reset button, and I think a lot of fighters are going to get their act together. Especially if we keep clowning these guys, like Bucho said. Anyway, listen, caller, anything else you want to say before we move on? Yeah. Oh, yeah, no. Speaking of clowning these guys, everyone go press Tank on his Twitter, bro, because he's trying to say Ryan Garcia taking PEDs and stuff. He's trying to find a way out the fight. Don't let him. But all right, yo, appreciate it. We'll certainly do that, man. Thank you for your call, man. Take it easy. All right. Yeah, the caller's referring to a tweet that I believe Tank Davis deleted, where he saw somebody showed a picture of Ryan Garcia, and Tank Davis said he clearly on that shit. The zone's letting him. Which, first of all, why would this? I mean, what does the zone have to do with it? They don't conduct the drugs testing, as far as I know. Maybe I'm wrong. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong.
I saved the tweet if you want it. I can show you. Somebody DM'd me it because if you look at Garcia, looking pretty damn thick in the shoulders. I'm not making any accusations. I'm just saying I think what happened, I think Tank saw him and saw really how fucking kind of jacked up he was looking. He's probably like, oh shit, this kid's keeping it real. But it was his response. If I find out you're fucking around, basically doing drugs, I'm going to get you, basically, but not in boxing. Inferring he's going to like take it to the streets and shoot him or whatever. I have the tweet. I'll send it to you. Well, I'll put it so you can see it.
I mean, he said He said something similar to Rolly Romero, where he said, if this would have been different, he would have got. No, what did he say? Anyway, he was trying to say the same thing, that different circumstances, or that if he really wanted to, he could have murdered Romero. I believe that's what he was implying. He left it pretty vague so that he could obviously weasel out of it. But it wouldn't surprise me if Davis said that, Jimmy. That's the type of guy we're dealing with here. And that's the other thing is, the judge rejected that plea deal a couple of months ago. And the plea deal was no jail time. So evidently the judge is looking for jail time. people like, White Rapid's been saying that he doesn't believe Tank Davis sees some jail time, especially the way, considering the political climate in Baltimore. He might be right, man. The way he put it, it was very convincing. But the fact that the judge denied it, I don't know, they could be playing games too, making it seem like, oh, we're really going to step on this guy, where we're going to give him some time, and then they don't give him anything. I don't know, but I think Tank Davis really right now, he's not in a good place. He doesn't have an anchor in terms of management. The guy that he was with for a long time, Floyd Mayweather, ended up being a guy that was bad for him. Wouldn't surprise me if Mayweather was trying to sexually assault him, or maybe he already did sexually assault him. He's having trouble with his marriage. He's running into people and fleeing the scene. I don't know. I still don't understand how people could root for this guy. I've been noticing that a lot of the people that root for him tend to be the same type of people with the same type of characters that he is. Maybe they enjoy that type of criminal lifestyle. I don't know, but for the life of me, different people, different strokes for different folks. I don't understand how people can root for that guy. But hopefully that Garcia fight happens. More and more people now, and I think we spoke about it a little bit in the previous episode, which is that some people are growing skeptical that this Ryan Garcia fight even happens. So that's a scary thought, but it is possible. Jimmy did send me right now that tweet. Hold on, let me see if I can put it up on the screen here. Give me 2 seconds here. Why isn't this showing up? What's going on? There we go.
Also, I just want to say real quick, even the guy he is fighting, Hector Garcia, is a good little fighter. The Olympian, he's a talented fighter. But he's a career flyweight or flyweight.
No, not even Jimmy, I think he just recently started fighting. I think he just recently started fighting at 130. So I don't even
just started. Only 2 fights. The first time was on a 5-day notice or a couple of week notice to fight Chris Colbert. Mm-hmm. That was the first time he ever fought at 130. Before that, all his other fights were 126. And then he just fought that kid Gutierrez, his last fight. So that's 2 fights he's fought at 130. His whole career prior to that, and he's 31 years old too. So it's not like he's a young kid. He's going to grow anyways. So he's literally dragging a dude up. Let's be honest, 2 weight classes. It's just always something, right?
And even at those weight classes that he fought, his record stands with less than 50%, I believe, KO ratio. So I mean, him going up and fighting fucking Tank, although he is 5'9". Man, the dude's gonna eat him up alive. He's gonna take his shot and he's gonna land his. Basically, do what he did to Rolly Romero. Although this guy might be scrappier, still
he's scrappy. That's for sure. He is scrappy. That's absolutely correct. But listen, I want to say something here. Burgers Merit in the chat says, "Yo, what the fuck you talking about with the Floyd sexually assaulting Tank?" Well, listen, I shouldn't even have said it because I don't have any proof. I have evidence, but again, that doesn't make my case that much better. But I've seen enough cult members and I've read about cult brainwashing and stuff like that to know the signs of a guy that's potentially being sexually manipulated into a dirty situation. All right, we got 2 phone calls, but first I want to put on the screen here the tweet in question. Gervonta Davis said, "No funny shit. If I found out he cheating, it's going to be a problem, and it's going to be more than boxing problems." OMM. What does that mean, OMM? Anybody that's well-versed in street lingo, let us know. But yeah, again, Tank Davis and then he deleted the tweet apparently. So he's just in that it's something
my mom,
that he does.
What does that mean? On my mom, on my mother, maybe?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Apparently that's what that's what people in the chat are saying.
He probably deletes 80% of his tweets. He does it all the time. Which is stupid because he's known to do it. Now the minute people who follow him are notified, the first thing they do is go and snap a photo of it. So they're out there. He just deletes them probably because they want to hear the comments, I would imagine.
This is a case where he should do what Errol Spence does, which is to let somebody else tweet for him. Remember that when there was a message of his that was way too erudite? When he was going back and forth with his girlfriend.
And they threw in peep this.
Peep this, homie. Yeah, man. I mean, come on. That was overkill. Hey, let's go to a phone call. Hey, by the way, don't forget to hit the like, fellas. And I want more people calling in too. The phone lines are there. We gotta end the year with a bang with a lot of phone calls. Let's go to 929 here. 929, you're on the air. 929, what's in your mind?
Hey, what's going on, BDA?
What's up, man?
Hello? Yeah, man. I just want to talk about Gallo Estrada versus Chocolatito 3, man. I really enjoyed the fight, man. I thought both men brought it. I had to fight like 7 rounds or like 8-4 Chocolatito, and hear me out, man. The 2 rounds that he gave up, right? The first 2 rounds that Gallo Estrada took, right? I gave it to him based on activity, right? And then Chocolatito kind of took the next 2, but then Gallo Estrada had like took the 5th and the 6th, and then from then on, I felt like Chocolatito was rallying, and because of Estrada's inability to really like put any stopping power on his punches, he wasn't really sitting down on it. I felt like he was relying too much on his feet. I'll give him credit for this though. Every time he tried to escape the pocket, he really did try to throw off some combos, man. And to the judges, that looks like something that's kind of like enticing to give somebody the benefit of the doubt. But like when you hit mostly gloves and arms, yeah, they don't really score, and they don't really have much effect on your opponent. But he looked a lot more busier, Estrada, than Chocolatito, because like at age like 35, you know, a super flyweight guy who's moved up like from 3 weight classes, I think. Yeah, you're gonna look a lot slower than you did from a decade ago. And I was with Ring IQ yesterday, man. It's like we were kind of disappointed in the judges' scoring. We were really biased for Chocolatito. You know, we're fans of him, but I have to, you know, give Estrada credit. You know, he came in there and really did try to be more convincing by stealing the rounds. I'll give him credit for that. But Chocolatito really did hit him like a bunch of times, you know, with the jab, hit him with the hooks to the body, and Estrada was most of that, the offense that he got off, he was in the ropes, and he really did back him up. But here's the thing: you can't do in Arizona. You cannot give up 2 rounds. You cannot be a slow starter. And for me, Chocolatito, like he didn't really was unable to like to cut the ring off on him and really slow him down. Because I gave the last round to Estrada, you know, because you know I think he really wanted to close the show. And it's all about leaving the touching the judges. That's why you cannot give up the first 2 rounds. You cannot start off slow. But it's because the reason why we reacted so fucking like negatively to the scorecards is because of the second fight. We really felt like, you know, Chocolatito won that the second one. So had he won that one, it could have taken the sting off this loss. So I would have been satisfied, you know, if they would have just given him that fight, and it would have been 2-1. But the better man won that night. I'm not going to stress it. You know, I enjoyed the fights. You know, for the zone card, they really did show out again. You know, they really done it again.
Well, there you
I
go,
just think
man.
they got to get better announcers, though. I listen. I have to switch to the Spanish announce table, the Spanish announce team. I cannot stand fucking Chris Mannix and Sergio Mora.
Yeah.
They have no fucking chemistry at all. Yeah, and they suck.
Yeah, listen, I mean, well, first of all, Virtuoso, thank you for your comment. And yeah, I do agree that a lot of people do. I think that's why a lot of people are angry about the decision, is because I think there might be, it's not that, first of all, there was one scorecard that a lot of people are having an issue with, was 116-112 Estrada. I could actually see it 116-112 for Gonzalez, but not for Estrada. That seems, I feel like some of the close rounds couldn't have gone enough to Estrada for him to get that type of card. So I think that's what really pissing people off. And the fact that it's Tim Cheatham or whatever his fucking name is, which sounds like cheating. I mean, that just makes it even worse, man. But anyway, listen, Virtuoso, man, we got to move on, man. I want to talk more about what you mentioned, but anything else you want to say, though, before we move on?
Yo, just follow the show. Hit the like and subscribe, you fucking gimps.
Oh.
Fucking one of the best shows, you know, on YTBC, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Called you Gibbs, by the way. All right.
Thank you, Virtuoso. You're always a great call, bro.
Thank you.
All right, man. Thanks, Jimmy. Peace, man.
Peace.
Peace.
He called the audience gimps. Now, listen, he made a good point about that I think people are really pissed off with the fact. I was actually expecting, you guys tell me, I was actually expecting Chocolatito to get the decision, because I said, okay, almost like Gonzalo once mentioned about Morales Barrera, where a lot of people felt Barrera should have won, and again, he left a bad taste in people's mouths because they gave it to Morales. And then the second one, Morales should have won it, and they gave it to Barrera. So it's like to the business side of boxing went to even things up. So I thought that was going to happen last night, but it didn't. So I do believe
BDA, and I hate to be this guy, but I mean, do you think? I mean, Arizona, it's heavily Mexican Americans, right? Do you think that would have had anything to do with it? I'm just saying. I'm not saying that's why, but if they were going to give somebody, wouldn't they want? Because who was the more popular? Because I try to watch most of it off the volume off because, like you, I can't stomach. And it sucks because I like to hear the crowd. So when you listen to it off, you don't hear the crowd, which kind of blows. But I can't stomach more and Mannix and the shit that come out of their mouth. But what was a pro crowd? Would you say it was Chocolatito or Estrada?
That's difficult to say, man. The second one happened in Dallas, but that was weird because that was 2021. They were just barely starting to get out of the COVID thing where they were allowing half capacity, and then everyone's got masks on. So I don't know if that muffled the screams or whatever. In this one, I would have to expect Estrada to have had more fans. But if he did have more fans, I could see him not having that many, because it was a hardcore boxing audience there. Anytime you see these little guys fighting, it's going to be a hardcore boxing audience. And I think it seemed like there were a lot of people that respected Gonzalez. In fact, I don't know. In other words, I'm prevaricating here, Jimmy, but I don't know, man. What do you think?
I think that's a great word. But yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying, brother. And
I'd have to think about it.
You answering for me.
I'd have to think about it. But look, I think the fight could have gone to Estrada, even though when I rescored it today, I rescored it for Chocolatito. But the people that are saying, oh, Chocolatito got robbed, as if it was some sort of a, what's a legendary
That I
robbery.
can't agree with. Yeah, no, I can't agree with the robbery. There's no way. The second fight, I thought he clearly won the second fight. I was surprised by that one. But last night, before they raised it, I honestly thought they were going to give it to Estrada because of those early rounds. It's just, for the optics, it just doesn't look good. You know what I mean? It's just the judges, because humans, just the tricky motherfuckers. And the fact that you start off giving away those early rounds, it just gets the judges into this mindset that you're losing. I don't know why he did. Well, I think I know why. I think he was trying to preserve his legs because he's 35. So it goes to show you his greatness. I mean, he's literally depending on his skills right now, because that's just unheard of for a guy that size to get starched the way he did. It's only been a few guys to come back from shit like that and do well.
You're absolutely right. You're right. I want to make a distinction too. The scorecards. It's look. Hold on, before we continue, shout out to Paper Tiger for his contribution with the super chat. It says people mistake favorable scoring for Chocolatito as bias. No, it's bias for effective aggression, clean punching, etc. Chocolatito does these things. That's a good point. Here's my thing about it. That's an excellent comment by Paper Tiger. But I do believe, though, that there are Chocolatito fans out there that are being a little bit salty, a little bit. Just like there were Estrada fans that are being extra boisterous to counteract some of the Chocolatito thing, and just maybe because they're trying to make it seem as if it was a clear Estrada win. Goes both ways. That being said, sometimes you get fights that are competitive throughout the 12 rounds, but it's clear that one guy won it. For example, I thought for me the rematch, it was competitive throughout, but Gonzalez should have received it. A great example, it's my classic example of a fight that was competitive throughout 12 rounds, but that was clearly won by one guy, was Morales-Pacquiao 1. Pacquiao never stopped throwing. He was active, landing on the shoulders. Even if he wasn't landing cleanly, he was touching the target. But Morales was the one snapping his head back with the cleaner shots. It was always competitive, but I thought Morales was one tiny step ahead. So that's the same thing here. Like, for example, when I say that I thought Gonzalez clearly won the second fight, I'm not saying he fucking schooled Estrada. I'm not saying it was 12-0. It was competitive throughout, but I always thought that Gonzalez was one. I mean, not always. But the rounds that he won is because he was landing those cleaner shots, but just a tiny little bit, deflecting the shots just a tiny little bit better. But that's what happens. And I'm looking at my scorecard here, and again, I gave I prefaced them, not prefaced them, but I made a comment in some of these rounds where I said, could have gone either way. But I don't go 10-10 rounds. because that's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to, no matter how difficult you find a round to score, you got to give it to somebody. Don't be the Teddy Atlas guy and go, well, I gave this, he's got 3 10-10 rounds. That's stupid. Don't do that. But it was a competitive fight. I understand it's difficult to score. But again, it's the attitude that some people are taking, like clear robbery. I said, come on. But what else was I going to say, man? Oh, we got another phone call here.
Yeah, it's like Chocolatito's his legacy is already solidified. I think Estrada's is as well, but I think we could pretty much surmise that Chocolatito is the greater fighter. Generationally speaking, Estrada is probably right behind his heels. But if you say Estrada beat Chocolatito twice, that only elevates Estrada's career kind of on par to Chocolatito's. So it kind of makes them both all-time greats, which they are. But by taking a little bit away from Chocolatito, it really doesn't hurt Chocolatito's legacy. It only makes Estrada's that much better. So people are kind of like, they want to see that happen. They want to see Estrada get put in the same realm as Chocolatito. Hey, go ahead. It's all right.
He's listen, 3 fights with Chocolatito. He's definitely shown that he can hang in there with him better than most guys out there. So that's a plus for him. But again, there's that big dispute now about whether he should have deserved those last 2 wins. Let's go to a phone call here real quick. Let's go to 919 here. 919, you're on the air. 919, what's on your mind?
Yo, you can hear me?
Yes, we can, man. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, it's 150, a.k.a. Big Say So, man.
Oh, what's up?
I just got 2 things I want to talk about, bro. I want to talk about Tyson Fury and Usyk and then the Chocolatito Estrada fight, man. But first, I'll talk about the Chocolatito Estrada fight, man. Before I even talk about scoring the fight, man, I should say fuck that shit. Really, honestly, man, that was some legendary shit we all seen last night. And we're not going to see shit like that again, bro. There's not a lot of fighters like that in this generation, man. Hopefully they fight a 4th time. I'm not mad at it if they fight a 4th time. Everyone's going to watch it. Okay. This wasn't you
guys. You still there, 150? Yeah, I can hear you, man. I can actually hear myself in the background. What the fuck? Oh, he dropped out. I mean, listen, I agree with him in the sense that these guys are very good skill-wise. They don't, Estrada was moving more than usual, but he wasn't back foot bitching it. He wasn't clinching. He wasn't pot-shotting and clinching. He was moving, throwing combos. That's the way it's supposed to be done. And Chocolatito is always coming forward. He looked rusty in the first 4 or 5 rounds, but my goodness gracious, once this guy gets going, I don't know.
Did you hear Sergio Mora though? He's pot-shotting the champion. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? When he said that, it's like Chocolatito landed the better of the punches in the last 30 seconds of that round. I don't know. Maybe it's because he's Mexican American too. Is that the reason why he's so got such a hot on for Estrada? But it just seemed. He absolutely was. Somebody tweeted out. I scored it the same as Mora, 119, 111.
Nah, man. I mean, listen, look, I hate to shit because usually it's not in my nature to just shit on like somebody for something. But look, it's a boxing show, and we are paying for these channels, and that comes the package that comes with it is that the commentators, and Mora is not a good commentator. I'm sorry, ESPN bad commentating as well. And we got to call it out because, like Bucho said, at this point, I mean, we're not watching this shit for free. I'm paying for it. I'm not watching it for free. So if I don't like the commentator, I'm gonna let it be known. He's a bad commentator. He calls the action badly. He's always getting into it with Mannix, which it's not entertaining. Mannix ain't entertaining either. They need to switch it up, man. Yeah. And there's plenty of good fighters.
And to top it all off, BDA, they're throwing in that new ring announcer. No, he's pretty bad. He kind of sounds like the brother of the other guy. What's his name?
Michael Buffer. Bruce
Michael Buffer's brother. The guy that always sounds like he wants to take a shit when he's fucking announcing.
Yeah, the UFC guy. Yeah. If he sounds like that, that's not good.
I mean, he screams like he's gonna have a fucking aneurysm.
Yeah, he gets in the fighters' faces as he's announcing.
Yeah, he goes over with the card and he points the card right in their face.
Yeah, it's about him. It's about him. It's his time to shine. You know what I mean? It's not the fighters. People pay to see him announce. That's the way he acts.
Mr. BDA, I know you guys aren't UFC fans. I know you don't fuck with it. This last big one, the 283, I don't know if that's the number. There was a fight in Chandler against Poirier, that first round. Watch that. And you say to yourself, like, I watched that UFC. I don't usually get them. And I was like, God damn. I mean, these guys are evenly matched. And they go in there. No, they match their fighters so much better. They really are. And you know it pains me to say it, bro. Because, you know, my family, myself, we're giving fucking lifetimes of energy towards boxing. And so it doesn't pleasure me to say it, but UFC is, product-wise, is crushing boxing. Just it is.
Well, there you go. Let me go to a phone call here. Let's go to 832. 832, you're on the air. 832, what's on your mind?
Hello, can you hear me?
There's a lot of background noise, man.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but turn down your TV or go into a quiet space, please, because there's a lot of background noise. I can barely hear you.
Is this better?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes.
I was wondering, why did Bam Rodriguez drop to another weight?
Well, because that was his weight.
Like, I think he could generally beat Estrada. I think he could beat Estrada. I think he could beat Estrada, or I think he could even beat Gallito. I think he showed his. I think he showed his power. I think he showed his footwork, everything. He looked really good against his last fight for Rugby side, whatever his name is. And I'm just confused. I mean, I thought he had a lot of potential in that weight class.
Yeah, I understand the sentiment.
Well, I think it's his older brother, though, right? His older brother, Franco, is at 115. I think he wants to let him have the shot at the titles. I believe that's what I was told. And that's why I went back down.
Okay. That's all.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, he could do well 115. He proved it, but if he can make 112, and there's a lot of fights down there as well, why not? And then, like what Jimmy said, he doesn't want to share the same division with his brother. Anyway, any caller, anything else you want to say before we move on?
Nah, I won't. Is there any other fights that are coming up? Like good fights, like Estrada versus Gallito, like this December?
Yeah, Renato Lopez versus the other Josh Warrington. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one, man. I think that's going to be a good one. It should be, is what I'm trying to get at. And then you got Sandor Martin versus Teofimo Lopez. That looks like it's going to be an interesting fight on paper. Could be an upset. You never know.
Listen, BD, and then David Avinician versus Crawford. That's a pretty good fight, too.
Could be. Yeah, could be. Anyway, let me just...
That's going to be a pay-per-view, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, BLK Prime. More diversity is what they say. Anyway, caller, anything else you want to say before we move on, man? Because we gotta go, man.
No, thank you.
All right, thank you, man. Yeah, there was a lot of background noise there. Sounded like they were having...
I'm a big Bud fan, but they can suck a fat dick. Ain't no chance I'm paying for that fight. That's just ridiculous. So that's the thing now. Is that the route this sport's going to go? Like you just said, every one of these guys is going to have to look in the mirror when they say, literally when the bottom falls out of this sport. You know what I mean? And it will if this continues down this route. And they're going to have to look in the mirror. Why did this happen? Well, I don't know. You're fighting David Avanesian on fucking pay-per-view, dude.
That's right. Yeah. And a lot of these guys, listen, Crawford doesn't give a shit. I get the feeling he doesn't give a shit about the fans. From the things he says, the way he treats fans, the way he doesn't want to do interviews. Well, here it is, you fucking joker. Now it's up to... Now you're pandering to the niche sport fans. Because that's what we are. It's a niche sport. These are the guys that you got to depend on to buy your fight on an obscure platform. Now he's got to reap the benefits of everything he's done on Twitter and how he's talked to people and the lack of interviews done. Now let's see if these people are going to say, I'm going to pay for that fight. That's why, listen, does Spence deserve more blame for the fight not happening, or Spence's side deserve more blame? Absolutely. But Terence Crawford, he's got blood on his hands too, man. And this fight on BLK Prime, whatever, I mean, come on, man. Especially when this fight's on ESPN. There's a fight on ESPN. You got Lopez versus Sandor Martin. And then on the zone, you got Venado Lopez. Well, that's actually a different time. But still, I mean, why you can get your boxing fix if you're already paying for these platforms. Whereas with BLK Prime, now you got to shell out $35. Is that what it is? I think, or more. The fuck out of here.
Yeah, and I gotta plagiarize somebody I read recently. It's just odd that, think about this: the guy Bud Crawford said of Al Heyman, who offered him $0 guaranteed, nothing. He called him charismatic and very friendly. And the guy who paid him $6.5 million guaranteed for Porter, he called him a racist. Just there
you go.
Kind of funny.
BLM. It's BLM at work, man. That's the BLM mentality at work. The cultural, what do they call it? Critical theory at work there. Got a lot to say about that over at the Second Renaissance, let me tell you. But listen, the point is, we do, like, Gonzalo, I know you're excited about that fight, the Venado Lopez versus Warrington fight. We also got, like I said, this Venado Lopez. No, excuse me. What's his name? Teofimo Lopez versus Andrew Martin. Now I'm thinking Lopez takes that one. But I don't know, man. This fucking guy, Martin, he's got great footwork. He's not going to make it easy just on that alone. But he doesn't throw that many shots either. So I'm expecting Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah, let's face it. Did that Sandor Martin that Sandor Martin guy look like $1 million because Mikey Garcia was halfway out the door? That was a rusty ass fucking Mikey Garcia, huh?
Yeah, he mailed that in. He had no effort at all.
Yeah, I think, that's a good point. Say Mikey Garcia, I like some people would say, he got exposed. He's beaten better guys than Sandor Martin. He just looked flat in there, not letting his hands going off. And again, that's something that lethargy has been his problem a little bit, even in the fights that he dominated. There were times where he could have stopped the guy, but he was just content to let it go and not throw combos or string combos together to stop a guy. And
also,
yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm trying to get in the echo. I thought you were done. Sorry, keep going.
Well, no, just that plus the fact that he was completely flat. Well, not completely flat, but he was flatter against Xander Martin. It's just, I don't know. Teofimo Lopez is a different animal than Mikey Garcia.
And I was going to say, too, another fight coming up. I'll tell you, that Garcia, the Hector Garcia, even though he's being literally, well, not literally, but pretty much being sucked up 2 weight divisions, he's a good fighter. That kid's a good boxer. I'm telling you, that could be one of those cherry picks gone wrong type scenarios, because of the fact that Davis hasn't fought anybody anywhere near as skilled as that kid Hector Garcia is. That could be, he doesn't train right. If he goes in as a fat camp and just think he's going to blow him out like he does everybody else, I don't know, man. I don't see how he could fucking take that kid on in a boxing match and win. I think he has to stop him, because that kid Garcia, I mean, he's at 31 years old, so he's not too old, and he seems to be hitting his stride. And if he works into that weight class, and if he was struggling to get down to 126, but still that's a big ask because he's coming up. But still, that could be a tough fight. That could be a banana skin fight for Davis. I wouldn't be surprised if he was to lose a decision. And he doesn't have his protectors. That's official now. Think about this dude. Ellaby, the guy who was all about, when Hearn would tweet him, he would ask him a question, because that's how you get Ellaby. You just ask him plain and simple, explain yourself, or, okay, how did you get to that narrative, whatever he's saying? He'll just make some flib, nebulous response, never actually tells you anything. So when Hearn was calling him out on some of his bullshit, like, if you're the big guys and what are you doing? What the numbers are you doing domestically? And that's when his comment was, I got big, I'm too busy to deal with you. I got big boy stuff going on, and building stars or whatever. I think some ridiculous thing like that. Think about how stuck they were. I mean, just how important they have one fighter. Since the day Davis left them, and it was put out that Tom Brown Promotions was handling Davis's fight, so he did leave Mayweather. He hasn't tweeted. He's been off Twitter now since this almost 3 weeks. Hasn't even just got off Twitter. Not even tweeting, because he knows he's going to get. So he had that one guy and all that shit he talked. He's just such a scrub.
That's a shame. I mean, I wonder what, if they ever do say anything, because they're going to have to at some point. I wonder what the narrative is going to be. But yeah,
they still have Willie Romero, I guess. He's got the bus stop kid there, short bus boy.
Maybe too. Maybe Ellerby's busy, man. I mean, he does have to pick up Mayweather's dry cleaning. Pick up the dog from the groomer, stuff like that. So hey, maybe he's busy. Shout out to Joker, says, when's the next Second Renaissance? Hopefully a great topic. Oh yeah, man, I'm planning on the Second Renaissance right now. Possibly tomorrow.
Let's do it.
Might actually work on it right now. I'll work on putting something together for
Can you make a show on the laptop from hell, BD? The hunter gets hunted, no hunter biting.
Yeah, sure, we could talk about that. Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, in any event, we do have to go. The latte, they call it that. But we do have to go right now, though. So shout out to everybody in the chat for listening, everybody that called in, everybody that donated with the super chat. Really appreciate it, fellas. Really appreciate it. Everybody in the panel, of course. The Jim Marino, Gonzalo, Chief was here. Bucho was here as well, here for a couple of minutes. Like I said, everybody that called in, everyone that donated with the super chat, everybody in the chat. Shout out to you guys. Really appreciate it. Try to be back on this Wednesday.
Bucho's our own little Davis, right? He's our hit and run guy.
Hit and run. Yeah, man. And really appreciate everybody tuning in. And like I said, stay tuned for a Second Renaissance tomorrow. I'm going to work on it right now after this show. And yeah, man, we'll be back on later on. Shout out to everybody out there. Take care. Don't forget to hit the like on the way out. Subscribe. Spread the BD gospel, fellas. Take it easy.
Disappointed in every one of you.